Hellraiser.
Wreck-Crazer.
I'm quite excited for HE double hockey sticks Razor. I'm quite new to all this, as you know, or relatively. I think I watched this when I was younger or something. I'm sure I definitely Hellraiser 3 with Terry Farrell, but like I watched these again last week, and then me and Ivan did like 1 to 4. In short,
we did Hellraiser. I mean Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. I've put it this way. I've no desire to proceed beyond 4. Though apparently the one, so Scott Derrickson directed the 5th one, and people say that's pretty decent. So I'm kind of like, oh.
The 5th one is just a detective film that has random bits of Hellraiser shoved into it because it wasn't originally supposed to be. It does a sort of Die Hard.
It's a retrofitted script, isn't it?
Yes, it's terrible. It's terrible, I gotta tell you. It's awful. It's terrible. Why are you doing this to me?
Like, I like that. Whatever that was. I like it very much. Sure. Yeah, one has Henry Cavill and it's just Callum Chung. So I heard, there's one with Henry Cavill when he's got long floppy hair, and I guess that's part 17 or something. I didn't really have any appreciation for the fact that they really kind of slowed down and then massively accelerated. So like the 5th one was in 2000, and then they've done 6 since then. Yeah,
they did. They did. I think one of the ones with Henry Cavill and Lance Henriksen as well was it. I'm sure I've seen that ages ago.
That's the one about a computer game, isn't it? It's about an MMO based on Hellraiser, the Lance Henriksen one.
Oh. Well, there's one where I don't know. There's one where it's like Lance Henriksen, and he has a big mansion, and he's like, "Come to my mansion, and we will sit around and do things." And I'm a creepy old man, and then people die. And again, it's a sort of teen slasher, but sort of Pinhead goes, "Oh yeah, I guess I'm here," or whatever, chains and shit. And it's not really like nothing really. It's just sort of like. It really is very loose in terms of it actually being a Hellraiser film. I do remember. I think I'm sure I've seen that one, but it's just sort of teeny slasher in a house, and then, albeit a big one. And then there's one where it's like a computer game or something or whatever.
Yeah, I know one of them's about an MMO. So someone makes an MMO about Hellraiser, and then the real Hellraisers come. This is the pattern for the night, because I'm going to just give things coming. You thought it was a computer game, but we've come from Heck to get you. Sarah Millican's Hellraiser. What even is this now? What even is this now?
They turn that word into heck everywhere. So, like, if they went to the beach, they might find a sheck.
Yes, that's good. What type of cat is that? Tortoise shack. Hellraiser fans just angry already.
Yeah. Stop getting it wrong. Hellraiser wrong.
I really liked Hellraiser, the first one. I really liked it. I thought this is really cool. Like, it's not without its problems, as I'm sure we can discuss. I was kind of like, this is really cool. The psychosexual stuff in it looks really good. The performances are really great. Effects. This series loves a degloving, doesn't it? There are a lot of people getting skinned in Hellraiser, like every time.
It sort of plays fast and loose with the whole idea of what skin is. It's kind of like you can just strip it from someone. It's like, really, I mean, not since Face Off have we seen such wanton abandon when it comes to the ligamenture of one's skin. It's sort of like, well, it's not like you can't just whip it off.
There are bits where it's like, you remember when in Scooby-Doo when they pull the bad guy's mask off?
yeah, it's a bit Mission Impossible, isn't it? It's a bit sort of...
In the third one, in Hellraiser 3, they kind of, it feels like they're doing it out of obligation, because that girl, the kind of rock star guy, brings the girl back to the house, and there's the column, and it just goes and sucks her in. It's kind of like we were expecting that, so there it was. It's like, okay.
I guess we do this now or whatever.
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, we have to do that. I can't remember. I don't recall the degloving in the 4th one. I'm sure it's there. Isn't the what's her name walks around degloved for most of it in the 90s segment, I think.
It's been a while. Oh yeah, something like that. I don't know.
That was patience. The 4th one was patience testing. It's very like oh geez, like wow, this is happening. Okay, They are the first 4. I'm told. So I watched 4 on YouTube, but people in the chat and I think on our Patreon have been saying that all 4 are on YouTube. So if you're feeling without movie, you can watch it on YouTube. Apparently, according to some.
Oh.
So there you go. Oh, here we go. Colin McLean in with the laser guided info. Part 8 is Hellworld with Cavill and Lance, where it's kind of meta like New Nightmare, where the teens play a game based on the Hellraiser series. Okay. Yes, and James, I think I texted you at the weekend. Hellraiser 4 with a female character called Rimmer. There's a character in space called Rimmer, which is like, really? Wow, okay. Fair dues. Oh, you went for the classic theme. Lovely.
Oh, of course. Well, because I haven't really watched it. That's
only the first 2 series have that kind of cool spooky music, and then the later series is like and all that. Right. Before we started, Daniel Hawkins very kindly gave £5 in the super chat before we even got on.
Vielen Dank.
Vielen Dank.
And Andrew Capitz has sent us £9.21, but I believe that's because he has requested a good old service, and we can charge 79 pence.
Thanks,
and
the customary
£10.
The customary £10 from Andrew.
Indeed.
Week, bless him.
Thank you.
Which came in last week when we had your cover. Daniel says, gonna miss tonight, trying to shove as much booze into my suitcase as possible as I'm off to Download Festival tomorrow. Have a good night, lads. Now I thought Download was cancelled, but it seems there's some kind of mini social distance download or something happening, because obviously lockdown got extended, or whatever you want to call it, got extended this week. Which is kind of, there was one small festival I was due to go to because I got free tickets for doing on their video, but now it's been cancelled until 2022, thus making my efforts redundant.
Well, I hope that you still get your free ticket in 2022.
I better, or I'll use the vacuum cleaner to suck all my videos off the internet. Get back.
That's video vacuum. I'll send Hellraiser around to see.
Hellraiser with his Henry Hoover. Just to suck my content out of the internet.
I mean, let's talk about films. I think I did a bit of a but about 20 years ago I kind of went and hoovered them up and then put them down again. I was one of those like, oh yeah, I should watch that because it's freaky and horrible. Because I remember when I was a kid going around the like Blockbusters or whatever, and the videos and all that. They wouldn't have actual videos, but they'd have those click clack things.
Yes, like the off license near me, their rental video section was all clickety clackities. Yeah,
because then the guy'd go in the back and come back with this horrible dog-eared thing that just said like Hellraiser in pen on it and stuff.
Right.
Didn't actually get branded stuff. But I remember that being on there and being like, that's freaky and weird and awful. And obviously I wasn't allowed to have it at the time because this came out 87.
87.
So I was like 3. So probably good to you. But obviously, when you get older and you're allowed to watch all the things, you kind of do. And I think I must have been in my 20s or something when I picked this up and thought I'd give it a go. And I bought, at the time I had it somewhere like the box set, so it was like
I've seen it at your house. I was weirdly thinking of your DVDs when I was watching these. Like, Duncan's got the Lament configuration DVD box, right?
That's right. Yeah. So I've got that. I think it's downstairs somewhere. But that. So I was kind of like, well, I'll just get that because then I can watch all of them. And so I did, and it was interesting. I think, like you say, this. I think this film gets what it gets right is its kind of conceptual stuff, and it's very. What's the word? It's got highfalutin ideas,
yes,
imagery wise, but I think where it falls down is in the execution. But that's sort of first time director, not a massive budget. You can kind of excuse it that, I guess.
A lot of it's very forgivable, isn't it? I think on that basis, because it's an amazing debut, really, for a writer to come and just do this movie. I just Stephen Allen, the ever vigilant Steve Allen, says he just saying that everyone in the chat is asking how you're doing and how your holiday was. We kind of skipped the pleasantries this week, so everyone's asking after you. How you doing?
Oh, very sweet. Yeah, I'm good. Had a nice time away. Although I think when we left, we were supposed to be in sync with a very nice week of weather, and I think that then arrived a week early. So when we got there, it was miserable for about half the time. It was like raining and not very nice, and then by the time we got back here, it was like blisteringly hot. But that's fine. It was all good, yeah.
And then I got British holiday, really.
Yeah, and then I got back and had to have root canal surgery, which was horrible. So, swings and roundabouts, but it was all right. It's all good. We're still here. It's fine.
Yeah, everybody's still here. Hi, everybody. Welcome back for another week. Back with the normal team as usual. I see all you. I'll do the shout outs because I think we've got quite a lot at the moment. Usually the pop out chat button. Oh no! Pop back in. Sorry. That's the wrong one. Oh no! Restore chat. Oh jeez. I want participants is what I want. Ash CGC, Benny Legend, Callum Chung, Captain Meets Adventures, Carl Goddard, Champagne 78, Chewbacca's Neighbour, Colin McLean, Eric Glennon, Floyd 75, Dylan, I Am Snorlax, James Atkinson, Mark Garside, Petter Danielson, Philip Casey, Phil Rob 1978, Rob Myers, Sam Duxbury, Soda Drinking Corridor, Janister, Stephen Allen, John Smith yet again, the Wincoming Exchange, Val Verde Broadcasting, that's us, Vicky Livesey, sorry if I said that wrong, John Doe just popped in, Dan Lyles just popped in, Colin McLean I think just popped in. Can't keep track of all of y'all that are popping in, but welcome back. Quite excited about this week. I think it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, Mr. Casey Senior has just sent £10 as well. Says hi guys. PayPal. Thank you, Dad.
Petter is drawing attention to the watch party we had on Monday, which Omar won again, and it was another Woo film. We watched A Better Tomorrow, which is kind of like the classic Woo tone setter. And one of the things you'll find out, ladies and gentlemen at home, and everyone else at home, is that we started, on behalf of the chat, I started bothering Duncan halfway through about whether or not Bond went to Oxford or Cambridge. That was a discussion. And then jury's out, or neither, or both. It seems to be.
It's both. I think. Well, if you go by the films, it's both. By the books, I don't know actually, because I've not read all the books, so I couldn't really say. But by the films, he got a first in Oriental languages at Oxford. If you go by You Only Live Twice, and went to Cambridge. I think it's Spy Who Loved Me. He makes reference to having been to Cambridge. So,
of course, if he'd done an undergraduate degree at either university, he would therefore qualify for a master's free of charge at that same institution.
Yeah,
it's a true story. Vicky asks, is the baby well, Rich? And I think I'm without child. Vicky, I think you might be referring to Duncan. How's baby Duncan?
Baby Duncan. She's doing very, very well.
Her name is Duncan Jr.
Yeah, the kids can call you Duncan Jr.
It's in the vein of Nigel Lawson calling his daughter Nigella. So desperate was he to have a child called Nigel. So yeah, Duncan Baby Casey is her full legal name. That's a lie. That's what I like to call a lie. Captain Meat, any more Resident Evil 8 streams? Yes, I need to ask Ivan, and if he's down for one, because I'd like to crack on with that, because that game's fresh in my mind, and unlike certain survival horror games based on beloved 70s sci-fi franchises, it won't take me 9 years to complete it, because I know what I'm doing. So there you go. Colin, sorry interrupting your vacation and dragging you into that Bond debate. Says Colin, it was me who suggested you should sell it. Don't apologise to him. He wasn't on holiday anymore. It was Monday. He was. I considered him on call.
My pager went off.
His pager went off.
Paging Dr. Goodbar.
Yeah, we do have pages as well.
Yes.
So that's what your Patreon dollars get you. It's me harassing Duncan in his free time. Once a month.
And then I'm sure you said it just to ruffle my feathers, but what was it you said about the code name theory?
Wing Kong Exchange brought that up earlier, and he's just like, the official Val Verde theory is that Bond codename theory is true, and he went to Oxbridge University. Good old Oxbridge. Vicky says, sorry, it's been a while. Don't worry, Vicky, easily done. You are far from the first person to confuse us. Don't worry. Not in person. There's a huge attractiveness disparity. But in terms of names, Floyd, any more private watch party, any chance for Raw /Zombie Flesh Eaters double bill? we're waiting for Raw and Zombie Flesh Eaters to get voted in. You know, that's Peta and Annalisa's choice that have been on the wheel of names for many a month, waiting for that sweet time to roll in. Could just do a double as a treat one day. Who said? Captain Meat says, I heard Bond lied and went to a polytechnic. It's true. He did film studies with me. He was in my class. Toby taught James Bond as well. That was a fact. Yes, so Hellraiser is apparently on YouTube, but we're watching it on Shudder. And if you sign up for a free trial, you'll get 7 days of Shudder for free. So you could watch Hellraiser on Shudder. Should we say like 5 minutes to start? Does that sound all right?
Yeah, whatever, yeah.
Give everybody a chance to find their copy of Hellraiser. So if you go to Shudder, you can find it there. I meant to say, I've got some kind of, through the Deadmau5 guys, I've got some kind of links to Hellraiser. And Peter Atkinson, who wrote the second, third, and fourth ones, we're kind of linked on social media now. And I had a drink with him in LA because we interviewed him, and then he came out for beers with us. So he plays the barman in Hellraiser 3 as well. So I get these kind of like fart huffing links that I can bring up. And the guys did the documentary Leviathan, which is like a 4-part mega doc on Hellraiser. It's really long. It's like 8 hours long. So it's kind of like a miniseries doc, which I think might be on Shudder. It's on Amazon.
All right.
Yeah.
So have a look.
So it's probably worth a look. Those guys, one of the ones. Those guys made that a few years ago. So Gary, Chris, Adam, and others. I'm not sure who's involved in that one.
It's not on there, but
on where?
It's not on Shudder.
Oh, it's not on Shudder. I think it's on. I say Prime. I think you need to pay to watch it on Amazon. So I think it's rentable on Amazon. So that's a shame. Oh. There are other horror docs. Shudder's really cool. I've been on it a week. I got it. I think I said the great unreleased George Romero movie went on Shudder last week exclusively, which is why I got Shudder. It's called The Amusement Park,
Shit.
And it is a age awareness film paid for by Lutherans who did not like what Romero made. It's a really odd little gem that was lost. It's about 50 minutes long. And it's kind of made in this early 70s. It's like a public information film, but it's this highly expressionist, surrealistic take on the neglect of older people in society. It's really good. It was fucking weird, oddly. But yeah, that went on Shudder, so that's why I got Shudder. And then Happy Days, Ivan had said, hey, do you want to watch Hellraiser one night? I did. And then it was like, oh, we can watch 2 on here. And then I think I paid, it was £1 for 3 on Amazon to watch 3.
Right.
And then 4 was on YouTube. It seems all of them on YouTube, so, you know, who knows. I don't know. I just don't know. Yeah. So, just been... do you know what as well? I've been reading all about Hellraiser as well.
Have you? You've been binging the Hellraisers.
Yeah, I kind of did deep dive, man. I was kind of like, particularly, I did a lot of reading during Hellraiser 4. It's like, fucking Jesus Christ. Surprised me how soon they went to space as well, because I know the cliche of things going to space. But, like, so soon.
I wonder if it... Well, what was the first thing that did? It wasn't Jason X, was it? It was...
Critters.
Like Critters?
Yeah, would be my instinct. Like, Night of the Living Dead... Not never did. Nightmare on Elm Street, like, never did it. The first one to go to space was Alien. Sorry. I think Critters, but because Halloween never did it either. I mean, because I honestly, Leprechaun, of course, Leprechaun's this way. So I don't know which year that was. And also Hellraiser 4, I was kind of like, shit, this is 1996 or something. Like, these people should know better than this. It's
a bit... Yeah, I know, it's not even a decade after the first one came out, and we're already in space. Yeah. And it's like, that sort of stuff, it's like... Because doesn't it, like, that thing of, like, you can run and hide from them, and you can trap them in places, it's like, don't they appear... Like, they're sort of omnipotent, that you can't... Yeah. What? Like, I never understand. Really... It's like, you're trapped now. It's like... Am I? I can make chains come out of nowhere and I can appear.
I can make a wall that goes into hell anywhere, it would seem. It's just like, all right. All of that, because they seem weirdly kind of mortal a lot.
Yeah, like we're in space, and you summoned me with a box. It's like none of that indicates that you should be able to trap me physically anywhere.
What does this mean? What is this? Why am I here?
I know. Ow.
I liked the so for example, it seems because the fourth movie was really heavily butchered from what they'd written, and they talked about doing it as 3 different period movies and all this stuff. I really like the idea of somebody making a box in space as a trap, like that as a single line pitch. I'm kind of like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But the way it's actually done is, you can see firstly that the space station is just the net for a box, and it's like, well, that's going to turn into a box, isn't it? And you spend the whole film going like, he's related to the man that made the box, and then at the end as well, fuck me, he just kind of goes like, yeah, in your face, Hellraisers, I'm out of here. And then they get blowed up and it just goes credits.
Yeah, I know. It's like you can't get. I mean, because they're all supposed to sort of just definitively kill. The thing is, it's like Pinhead, because he was never called that originally, was he? It's
the
like
Hell Priest
that
is Clive Barker's preferred name for him,
right? He became the face of it, but it wasn't like that was necessarily intentional. And then he kind of had to be this sort of slasher figure, and it's like, oh, he's not, is he? I mean, I don't know. Like, it's sort of, and then they had these highfalutin ideas about how he was a general during World War One or whatever, and now he's going to wrestle with his alter ego, and it's just like,
oh yeah, the third one, it's kind of like he's been split in two, and it's like, has he? I mean, what does that mean? Like, that never happens again?
In her dream or something?
Wait, what? Where am I? What time is it? Yeah. Also, I love, because, well, we'll get going in a minute, but they're pretending it's England, but they're pretending it's America after the fact. And then the third one is so brazenly just goes like, no, it was massively New York all along. And it's like,
shut up, get out of here, already.
Because a bit in 2 where like a New York cop comes, or an American cop comes.
Yeah,
it's like, it's a good fucking job that they didn't film any scenes with British cops in the first one, and then dub them over being like, howdy, I'm a policeman. It's just so.
They could have. It was my assumption with this one, and obviously we'll get to it. But it was my assumption that it was like they were American, but they were returning to the UK because his brothers.
That's how it's written. Right. Yeah, and then I think it might be the Weinsteins, because I knew that they got through Dimension were in charge of.
I always blame the Weinsteins.
It's a good tactic. You can do it now as well. Now above you.
Yeah, it's like blaming Hitler.
Yeah, exactly right. You just keep doing what you like. They didn't think it would market well, so they went in retroactively and dubbed it. And it's like, dude, there's English trains. She goes to the cranes at the fucking Isle of Dogs, like walks around. Yeah. Like, it's so obviously, it's like grey all the time. It's so obviously England. But. Hey, there you go. Shall we crack on? Because I feel like we're gonna blow our wad. Which Hellraisers would like, because they're all about sexy death sex. That's how it works. That's what Clive Barker intended.
Right.
Okay, so I'm ready. Are you ready?
I think I am. I'm just going to press play to see what happens on.
Oh, and shut it. Yeah.
Better turn that. Shoo there.
It's got sound coming out all over the place.
Right. Very good. Okay. Yes, I am good to go when you are.
I'm gonna count from 3. I just count from 3 and then say heck, and then you can go. So I hope everybody at home's ready with their copy of Hellraiser. 3.
Oh, hang on a sec. Sorry. Wait. Sorry. False start. My freaking Apple TV's trying to. For God's sake.
Well, I'm going to adjust my lighting to make it look slightly...
No, I don't want to connect to it right now, but... You'll never be able to now that you've decided that. That's it forever. Shut up. Okay, sorry about that.
I took the chance to make some slightly more heckish lighting. I've gone more...
On the end.
Heckish. Right, ready? You ready?
Ready now, yes.
3, 2, 1, heck.
Heck.
So it's kind of wonky and a bit broken. However, I think it's so good that it pushes past a lot of its problems. I think that's really pushes past a lot of its problems, and I think the end result is very good.
I think. I mean, you can tell it's put together by someone who's not used to telling stories in this language. Clive Barker had directed stage productions before, and he had made. Short films.
Yes, we studied his experimental video work in school. He did really weird.
Okay.
I mean, one of them was a negative.
It's on the DVD.
Willy flapping back and forth.
Yes.
Yes.
Jesus with his bum out or whatever. Doing things. I didn't really understand it.
Jesus
I was
with
just kind
his
of like,
bum out. Yes. Yes.
Well, so whatever. No. But he's someone who sort of he appears to think certain things will look. I won't say he. Focuses on visuals at the expense of storytelling, but I do think he is someone who wants to put certain images on screen, and that's the priority, which is fine actually, because for something like this, I think that's much more important. Really, I kind of think he's right, with this, but it does mean that certain storytelling aspects get a bit lost in the fray, like the whole kind of. We're in America. We're not in America. We don't know. It's all kind of like a bit like, it doesn't matter. Here's a picture of a flower and a TV and and it's kind of like, that's all weird. But then it should be, because you are sort of supposed to be in a trance-like state. It's supposed to be a bit confusing and disorientating.
There are really strong visual elements in this as well. I really think that. I think when I first popped it on. Like when Frank's opening the box, the kind of camera comes down over him, and there's the ring of the ring of candles, and lots of kind of geometric shapes and stuff. They did that a lot in the second one as well. I think the fixation on shapes works really well, because it's about an evil shape, isn't it? I mean, some things not terribly subtle, like the sugar cube in the drink, and there's a bit later when. Kirsty's lying in bed, and it's a kind of cross dissolve of a stop motion of a flower opening. It's like, what could that mean? Yeah. I wonder. What's that subtle imagery? I
explained my on the bog thesis about this film, didn't I?
Do it again, because you did it with Toby for that vid, but I'd like to hear it again, because it's a really good bit of texture analysis.
Well, it's something. I suppose I felt especially proud because I haven't actually seen. No one's actually said this, as far as I know. But I mean, to my mind, it is a lot of this is about the male. Firstly, it's written and directed by a gay guy, and which is cool. But I think it's his perspective on male fear, or male obsession and fear. And uncertainty and confusion around vaginas, right? Because it is a box. It's called the box, right? Men seek it out and pay a lot for it. Yeah. And when they fiddle with it, they don't understand it. And when they finally open it up, chains come out, rip them to pieces, and take them to hell. So it's a sort of thing on like this is it's a commentary on that's what happens to men when they get. Well, I don't have to explain that.
You very smartly said as well that women seem to be able to use it intuitively.
Exactly, yeah. When Kirsty gets her hands on it or whatever, she figures it out, and she's able to turn it into that diamond thing as well. And you know what I mean? So it's like as a weapon, she can turn it into a weapon and that kind of stuff. So there's and in the second one as well, there's the girl from the Channard Institute who is she's a savant, I guess,
yes,
so she can turn it into things.
Queen, isn't she? She's,
yeah, the fanny queen.
In my analysis, the fanny queen.
She's a queen of fanny. And I think we talked about as well, like Ken Cranham's character in the second one is obsessed with it. He's got drawings of it everywhere. He's got
obsessed
models.
with it. He's obsessed with it. He's studied it. He's failed to open multiple ones, all of which he keeps. Like it's very because he's a failure as a man,
and he gets turned into a monster with a giant penis in his head.
Yes,
which is deeply unsubtle. But again, it's kind of like his failure with the box means he just has a knob stuck in his head for the rest. It's of the time. It's like
when I watched these, I watched it with your theory in mind, and this and the second one. It was like, that really, really fits. Like, it's a really good bit of texture analysis. Like, I can't remember what Toby said at the time when you said it.
I think he sort of went, yeah,
dude. But that's what you did is the most film studies thing ever. So Toby should know better. Mark Garside saying where we are.
I think it holds water. That I mean, I don't say that by the way with any obviously Clive Barker being gay, I think just it's a perspective. I don't think it's.
Well, yeah, you know.
I don't think he's making. I don't think he's saying good or bad or anything like that.
He's commenting on, well, you know, he's commenting on straight men's approach to vaginas.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, which is what makes it interesting, I think. Which is what makes it kind of it's that perspective on a straight man's perspective on, you know, the fear and not just fear, but the sort of besotment and the kind of unknowable thing.
Yeah.
That it is.
Yeah.
And that it ensnares men, but it also, you know, it's because he's always writing about, like, Clive Barker's whole thing is always about, like, it seems like most of his demons and stuff have to be summoned, right? Like the Candyman is the same thing. It's like you have to ask them to turn up, which is a weird place to start from when you're in this kind of, because you're like, don't do it then.
I felt that so many times.
Right.
I need to give Mike Garside a time code.
Sure.
Mike's just popped in. Mike, I'm going to count you in 20 seconds. Is that enough? I'll tell you what, Mike, when it comes up to 7 minutes, I'll give you a 10-second warning, which is in about 30 seconds. So hold tight and we'll do that. Anybody else that needs a time code, we're doing it now. Get your Hellraiser ready. Okay. Stand by, Mike. I'm going to give you 10 seconds warning. Be ready. Get your counter to 7. You people like stuff. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Heck. Off you pop, Mike. So, yes, sorry. So this is a real house in London, which is known as the Hellraiser house. You can find it on Google Maps. And yeah, the dialogue here is all about coming home and stuff, and it all fits with what the original script was, which was, you know, they've come back to her homeland, to the house. But then you just got people coming and going like, "Hey, I'm from America," or like every. But then it has a weird thing of like,
"Who wants it? I guess it's Miller time."
Oh, say, can you? It just seems to take place in the middle of the Atlantic because there's still, you know, she goes. There's a really cool footage actually, because now if you go down to Docklands where the Excel is, they preserved the cranes as a kind of national heritage thing, and the Millennium Mill's still there, but that was just industrial scrubland until they redeveloped it, and you get a really nice picture of the Docklands as they were in 1986. It's really cool, stuff like that, and the London streets and things. But they seem to, because like even Ken Cranham in the second one, like, you know, well, that's an English actor playing an English character, and you've gone to all this trouble to make it look like it's America, and it's like you should have just gone. Whereas the third one is so achingly New York, and they really go in hard.
Well, because they moved production there, didn't they? I think that's why it's you know. Well, yeah, Ken Cranham, who I'm going to be playing a young version of at some point, hopefully, with the fellas that we talked about earlier at Dead Mouse. I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I must read that script again because it's really fucking good, man. I'm really looking. So that's another. I'm really fortunate that between that and what I'm doing with Mark, they're two really cool. You know, when you get something, you kind of go, yes. I like you read stuff. Some of the dialogue in it, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to do that. That sounds awesome. Like,
Ken Cranham's really cool. a recurring player in Dark Ditty, so you know, his younger self is really cool.
Absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to that. But and they've also got a lot of the Hellraiser guys and girls who play the Cenobites in their things as well.
Yeah, Simon Bamford, who played Butterball, is one of their buddies. He's done stuff with them, so they got in really, they got in really tight with the Hellraiser guys. I think from doing Leviathan. So they've got
and the lady who plays the female one, I think in the second one, am I right?
Yeah, because she's a different actor, isn't she, in the second one?
Yeah, and Nick as well, who is Chatterer, is it? I think he Nick, because Brad did an interview. He has a podcast on YouTube, because I know that because Brad did it for Hell's Eve. So there you go. So yeah, it's all connected. It's all connected.
There you go.
That's all connected.
It's all connected.
Boobies. So it looks like Freddie Mercury necking with a lady.
Bit of bush. Too late.
On a luger, a giant luger. But yeah, and yes. So What's the lady's name who plays Kirsty?
I can't. I was going to talk about Claire Higgins for a sec, if I may.
Ashley Lawrence, isn't it? Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't know
Lawrence,
her name, but
Ashley.
Let's have a look. Should we just cheat? Like we everybody knows we don't know.
You say what you were going to say, and I'll cheat.
Oh well, Claire Higgins more recently did like Doctor Who and stuff, but she's done tons and tons of stuff, and she was who Clive Barker saw as the lead villain for the Hellraiser movies. So she comes back in the second one. Barker ended up not getting involved as much, but like she was who he wanted, and she's so good in the second. I mean, she's good in this as well. But in the second one, where she really cuts loose and she's kind of a quasi demon and stuff, and she kind of takes Frank's place as the person who returns from hell and stuff. You know, she's really good because she's the way she kind of seduces Channard, and the first half of 2 has some really good weird psychosexual stuff because like when she has no skin and she's wrapped in bandages, like, you know, Channard still fancies her, it seems, and because he's a gross weirdo.
Yeah. Ashley Lawrence, I was.
What
did I think of? I was thinking of. Anyway, never mind. Yes, no. I mean, very much so, and I think, you know, they've all kind of said, haven't they, that they. Because very clearly, when you watch this film, it's like the bad guys really are well, the bad guy is Claire Higgins. It's not, you know. Yeah, I mean, the Cenobites and all that just rock up and do what they do. It's not, you know. You
look at the end credits. I mean, you know, he's Pinhead is called lead Cenobite, and I read again. This is me just spouting stuff I've just read. I don't claim to be an expert. I just stuff I've read in the last week. So for some reason, Hellraiser deep dive, but seems in the Hellbound Heart, the book this is based on. Like I think Butterball was the lead Cenobite. He's the one with all the dialogue.
Oh really?
And, you know, so I mean, the Cenobites clearly, to Barker, who created it, were clearly kind of interchangeable up to a point.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because they are a plot device. Yeah, didn't Doug Bradley get offered the part of either Pinhead or one of those moving guys?
Oh right, I didn't know that.
And he was like, well, really, I should choose one of the moving guys because their faces on camera. Here's your shot of them.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a great little snapshot of the way things were. Oh no! Sorry, I'm wrong. There's Betsy Power Station in the background. This is way south. I thought this was up in the East London. This is the South London cranes. It's just sort of Battersea in the background. So there you go. Anyway, it's really cool. I really love this bit. It's a nice little snapshot of a kind of bygone place, really.
Oh. Yeah, because I think that house is in the middle of a street. It's not like, because they make it out to be kind of on its own, and in the end it gets incredibly vague because it sort of blows up, and then they're just in the middle of like a
they're in
bit of wasteland.
Huge bit of wasteland, and then in the second one, some cops go, and the house is still there. It's like okay.
I guess it got blown all the way to America. I love it.
Landed in New York.
You know, on the day, the dialogue would have been like, "All right, yeah, we're moving the mattress."
Moving the mattress. Those two are the ones.
They're having a beer. All they've done is move a mattress.
No, that's what I loved about
this.
Like,
here's a 6-pack.
Because that fucking mover asks for a beer to the guy who's hired him. He's like, "Give us a beer." And it's like, fucking hell, mate. The 80s was rad. Give us some beers for the drive. And I was, again, look, I'm not going to get into the tired old dirty shit as pints of cream, but this film just fucking does it all, doesn't it? Like,
I saw something like I looked up an 80s song or something, or music video online, and I was listening to it, and I would look down at the comments, and it was like people were so like waxing fucking lyrical about like the 80s were just so much better, weren't they? Oh, I love the 80s. I wish I could go back to the 80s. It's like, yeah, but you couldn't watch these things on demand. Like,
you're
sort of going like, oh, the music was so much better. It's like, yeah, but you couldn't just sort of dial it into your computer and watch it. Like, you had to hope it was going to come on the radio at some point.
Well, to me, quite a lot of, and I find it particularly for our fucking generation, because I go, oh, I miss the 80s. The 80s were so much better. And it's like, oh, the cartoons were better, the music was better, the movies were better. I got given free food, didn't have to pay any rent, and stayed at home all day playing with my mum because I was 2 feet high. It was so much better. Yeah, think about it. Think about what's really going on here. It's because you were a child. There was massive social unrest and poverty, and it was really not very nice. But, you know, dealy boppers. Where's Justin Lee Collins when you need him? Anyway, no longer in prison. So Toby is buddies with, I can't remember the actor's name that played Frank, Uncle Frank.
Oh right, oh very good.
Yeah, so he was like, oh, I could get him an interview. I could interview him if you want, and I was kind of like, dude, do it to put on here. And I was like, do it. But I know Toby's busy being a big boy.
He is. He's writing some sort of spec script, I think. But no, I would. That'd be cool. I'd like to do some, interviewing actors type, actor chat.
Actor chat.
It would be cool. It'd be nice to do it in person, though, man. Like I'm sort of like, doing this shit over Skype all the time is a bit. Yeah. But no, I think it would be cool. It would be cool to sort of speak to some. I want to reach out to Eddie Furlong as well, because I think there's something there to sort of talk to people who've been in iconic things, but sort of I don't want to call it one hit wonder stuff, but you know what I mean, like just known for one very 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 popular thing.
We should. I could speak to Mikey. Probably make that happen. Yeah. If you want to. I think
that'd be cool. Yeah. I'd like to plan a whole documentary around Eddie Furlong, because I think there's a lot of fascinating stuff to explore there.
There you go.
And in a very positive way, not in an exploitative way at all. Like I would just love to sort of really pick his brain, from the perspective of an actor trying to make his way in it all, and I just think it would be interesting to explore his perspective on things and my perspective on things as two completely different people talking about the same profession. I think maybe be something there.
Well, I took advantage of my time at Eddie Furlong's house to speak to him about Resident Evil 7, because he had the VR headset. So there you go.
Also good.
I can't remember. Oh yeah, we were talking about Night of the Demons. That's why we interviewed him, because he's in the remake of Night of the Demons. So we spoke to him. Then we snuck in some questions about Robert Englund whilst we were there.
Do you like Friday the 13th?
Do you like Freddy stuff? Hey, I like Freddy stuff. My name's Eddie Furlong. I like.
Yeah, I do, man. I fucking love that shit.
That's quite good. That's quite good.
Oh my god.
No, the dude is in his. The thing is, you look at him and you go like, he still looks really young. He's like 40 something.
He's a few years older than us. Yeah, he's like kind of early 40s. Sam Duxbury, thought you'd be sporting your wife beater today, Richard. I am fucking boiling. Like I can't stress enough. I know that's my constant default state, but I'm so very hot, so very hot.
And I am a bit as well. I've got a hoodie on and.
I did read the stuff between these two, obviously, in their affair and everything. So he cuts her kind of negligee with the flick knife, and it seems there was some more graphic sex. There was some kind of graphic sex act there that they didn't like, but they were fine with him using a knife on her. That was okay. Whatever weird, and this is a studio side thing rather than a censor.
I see.
Which is just kind of like okay. That I like the kind of intercutting of the kind of men uselessly heaving the mattress up the stairs with her having satisfying sex with someone else is good
on a mattress, because it's the incompetent use of the bed versus the I know because I think again in the book I believe it's because in this obviously he snags his hand, cuts it, and it's the
sorry that shot there where she's stroking his shin. Yeah. Every time I see it, it looks like he's just got this massive knob for about a second. It's kind of like, what's going on? Oh, okay, right. Sorry.
He's got one leg and a giant pain.
Sorry to interrupt. I have to draw attention to my puerile observation.
That's all right. Would you say every time you see it? You've seen it once.
Twice now. Twice. Technically true.
Oh, yeah. So obviously, the blood dripping on the floor. Because in the book, it's they do a sex, I believe, in that room, and some man.
Oh, he does a cum. He does a cum, and the cum makes a.
Does a cum, and it's the cum that does it, which sort of is a bit more sort of making sense because what this then establishes is that you need blood. And they sort of suck blood out of people like vampires, and that's how they kind of replenish themselves. And it's like that's not really, that's not.
And that kind of stuff. There's a surprising amount of what I felt was just kind of really basic. I love the blood, which I assume is reverse motion photography with the blood going back.
Yeah,
and also the imagery of Frank emerging from hell through the floor is just a really cool version of someone escaping hell. It's really cool. It's,
Oh no, it's beautifully done. Because the effects when we did Kenneth, my dad actually may remember we went down to London to have the headcast done, and we were doing it at the workshop with what's his name? He'll come back to me. Anyway, but it was the guy. What's the effects guy's name? Who does Bob Keane? Who did this? He did Event Horizon and stuff as well. But his workshop is where we did that. And there were loads of stuff lying around from The Descent 2, I think it was. There's a Robbie Drake. That's who did my head cast, Robbie Drake. So it was his effects house. Effectively, we did it in his workshop. The very man who made that effect of Frank coming out of the floorboards and stuff was all done.
It's such a good effect. I really love that. Like, I know it's years old, but I hadn't seen it, and it's kind of like, that's a man emerging from hell, a man escaping from hell, being forced to reform through the floor.
It's like baby sounds and stuff. It's all
it's great, and the his kind of incomplete forms look really fucking good. Like his de-gloved Frank.
That's played by Oliver Smith, who also is pals with the Dead Mouse guys. He's in all the Dark Ditty stuff.
So de-gloved Frank is played by somebody else.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realise that. Okay, because is he really skinny?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's
look at that.
It's groowy, isn't it? There's a guy called Will McDaniel on YouTube. Really funny guy. I think he's quite young, and he makes his own special effects, and they're quite reminiscent of this. And he does these very short comedy videos, all based around these kind of slightly Cronenberg-y sort of flesh characters that are these kind of grotesques. It's very, very funny. I'd recommend anybody go check that out. This reminded me of that, but not in a funny way. It's just very funny, kind of sinister and weird. But this reminded me of that because the way it's this kind of creature at first, and then
and it looks like jizz on the floor.
It's a bit more. His emergence from the floorboard starts with kind of a clear fluid. It's a bit more jizzy.
The only weird thing is though is it only took that much blood to bring him back this far, but then he has to suck on a bunch of people just to get little bits. That is sort of not really.
A few incongruously English shop bank workers or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, so much reverse immersion.
This is sort of pre-Tinder hookups. Yeah.
It's got a really, obviously retrospectively, it's got a really horrible kind of Fred and Rose West vibe to it. For the kind of sex-related murder and picking people off the street and everything. It's not nice.
I'm sure that actor, one of the actors around the dinner table there, is the guy who's ended up in loads of stuff like Game of Thrones. He's the eunuch in Game of Thrones, and
what the kind of the sort of chubby guy?
Yeah, right. He's in Suits and stuff. Looking him up.
I love how in Hellraiser 2, Kirsty's boyfriend gets the most monumentally short shrift. It's like at the start, someone kind of goes he gets the full. He died on the way to his home planet. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, he's gone home now, and then he never comes back. And it's just like, yeah, okay, fine, that's it. In the first 10 minutes, because Gorman from Aliens is too busy trying to mac on Kirsty, who's suddenly replaced him.
Actually, no, I'll tell you who he is. I know he is. It's Niall Buggy, and he's in Alien 3. He's Eric in Alien 3. That's what I think.
Another aliener. There you go.
Indeed.
I should say, and look, I'm going to have to do this, Duncan. So, Dad of the family is played by the great Andrew Robinson, who was, of course, Scorpio in Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry.
His probably most famous thing was playing Garak in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which he did for 7 seasons. He was amazing. He's a standout character, incredible character, really complex character. And Andrew Robinson wrote novels about that character afterwards and stuff. And the other thing is, in the third one, the main character is played by the great Terry Farrell, who was Dax in Star Trek Deep Space Nine for 6 or 7 seasons or whatever. So
something about spaceships.
He just did the Alan Partridge. Something about. I just had to say, Andrew Robinson's a tremendous actor. So is Terry Farrell actually, but he's like an amazing actor. He's just in Dirty Harry, he just gives the most amazingly hateable performance as Scorpio. An awful man. Awful man.
Scorpio.
Yeah, it's a bit weird them having that theme tune for him, but. Scorpio.
Yes, you're me, Scorpio.
You ever see a man take a bite of a shoe?
Yes, once.
Yeah, a cinema in his own head, Gary. They keep talking about remaking this, and I read kind of about the remake cycle for this. I think someone right now is trying to get a series made somewhere. They keep trying to make it. It seems the original problem was that they wanted to make a kind of broad film aimed at teenagers, which is how the series kind of went, it seems. But they wanted to do a kind of... I think if someone interesting wants to do a remake of this, keep all the kind of cool psychosexual shit, put their own spin on it, I'm down for it. You know, because it's a fairly flawed film. I still think it's great. If someone interesting, you know, these remakes always go badly. I know I champion the fact they always go badly, but I think someone probably could do a good version of this. Wouldn't even have to be a remake, it could be a retelling, like whatever.
I think a lot of this... it's obviously the arresting imagery, I think, is what this film, and then the conceptual stuff, that's what really holds this film up still. I think, you know, it's its uniqueness that makes it really hold up, but it's also a product of its time. You know, it's the video nasty stuff, it was all that gave it a lot more oxygen, you know. I mean, I think that's what made it what it is. It was sort of, you know, castigated by the Mary Whitehouses and all that kind of pearl clutching stuff, and I think you don't have that anymore, so it's very hard to make something like this be impactful, and that's I think the problem they're just forever going to run into is it's like, yeah, you can remake it and it can have whiz bang effects and, you know, whatever, but you know, why? Like, what are you going to say with it? What's it going to be if you're going to turn it, you know? And it's all going to be, it's another one of those things where it's like, well, if smartphones exist, it kind of wrecks a lot of,
right,
you know, what's going on. You know, I don't know, I just think thematically, sure, you can talk about the same stuff, and yeah, you can produce it on a grander scale, why not? But, you know, I can just see it now. It's like, they remake it, Ashley Lawrence plays like the shopkeeper down the road with a little cameo from Doug Bradley, you know, and it's just like, really though? Is it really that, you know? Yeah. And you know, at that point as well, it will just be all about Pinhead.
Well, this is the thing.
Which is wrong.
If you could just give someone a small, you know, give someone, say, $20 million and say, you can do whatever you want, and just don't fuck around with it if someone's got a good pitch. But that would never ever happen. So, you know, you know, that's what they want to do. Make it a fucking small to medium budget film. Let someone get on with it, and I'm all right with it. You know, I am, but that won't happen. So not to worry. And, you know, yeah.
It's what, 20 mil. I think you'd have to also then secure a theatre release for that. You know, I think you'd have to, if you're going to make it for $20 million, I still think the business case is you have to release it in cinemas and do the big marketing push. And while I think you can do that in the scope to make money, I think you're right. I think that sort of budget is what you should make it for. You shouldn't hire fucking Tom Cruise as Butterball or whatever. Like, you know what I mean? You shouldn't be trying to get names and all that crap. You should just understand that this is a high concept, very, very, you know, visible franchise that you don't need names for. Make it for a little amount of money, give it a big marketing push, stick it in cinemas when we can again, and leave it at that. You know what I mean? Like, and you'll make decent scratch on that. I reckon you could break up like a couple $100 million. And there's no reason why. This is what I don't understand. It's like, you don't need to spend hundreds of millions of dollars. You don't need to. There's absolutely no.
And it's horror. Horror is a genre that proves that's not necessary. And I could just see it being kind of like, oh, exactly. Well, we got a bunch of writers from Marvel. We spent $100 million. We've got Chris Pratt as Pinhead. And actually, quite a lot of the film, it's a 2.5-hour movie, and a lot of it's setting up the 9 sequels we've already greenlit. It's like, don't do that. It's a fucking horror movie, you know. But then things like, you know, Mandy and It Follows and The Guest, we've had a real renaissance, low key, of kind of cheaper horror movies with interesting young directors in the last few years. Some of whom have gone on to bigger things, and some of which haven't. And I wonder if you give it to somebody like one of those guys. Let's see if they've got. Because I think the most recent thing I read was that somebody wants to do a series. It's kind of like, I'm surprised there wasn't a Hellraiser anthology TV series where someone gets the box each week. That's kind of, I'm surprised that hasn't been done.
Well, that's what they kind of turned into, though. I mean, from literally from the 5th one onwards, as far as I watched, which wasn't very far, it was just like, oh, will the box find this week? Stay tuned. It's like, it's not that film, though.
John Denver, what are you doing here? or whatever.
Oh, this is what I mean. Is it's like, with all the imagery. That's what like my silly fanny thesis. Like it kind of holds up in this. Like you can inject, whether that was intentional or not. You can throw things like that at this film and they hold up because thematically it's cohesive. Even if my what I'm saying wasn't a part of what he was intending, it's still like his themes and his imagery and everything hold together for whatever he intended. But when you get into like, Pinhead shows up to punish people for being naughty or whatever. It's like he isn't that. That's not what he is.
Yeah,
like, that's not.
The line is like what is it? We're explorers on the far reaches of experience or something. Is the line in this?
Yeah,
and it's they're kind of like sexonauts. Some call us angels, some call us demons, and it's not. I'm going to turn up and say a funny pun because they seem to shoehorn in. I've noticed at least in 2, 3, and 4, someone has to say "go to hell" at least once. And the second one has like Ken Cronum Cenobite has so many Doctor puns, and it's just like, oh my god, really? Like, it started out with this kind of quite cool psychosexual stuff, and then it's like, you should have made an appointment. The Doctor is in, and all this kind of shit over and over.
Yeah.
And the third one as well. That's full for Venture Brothers fans at home. That's when it goes full pleasure toast, with like because then it's kind of like, oh, we're going to make new Cenobites and. One's got a CD.
This guy was a DJ, so he's got CDs coming out his arsehole.
It's just like... and a camera. See, that's what I think I saw 3 when I was a kiddo. I remember 3.
Yeah.
And liking it because I was a kid, and that one's got a CD player for a face, and it was like, oh, yeah. And it's the fucking League of Gentlemen. How many killings type shit.
Yeah. Bradley Pitt.
Bradley Pitt. Black and white.
yeah, because I remember watching. My grandma gave me one of those portable TVs that was like a house brick with a postage stamp on it that was the television. And because I wasn't allowed a TV in my bedroom, so I snuck this thing home because my grandma gave it to me, and I would like hide it under the bed and watch it. And I remember that the third one being on TV and watching it on that tiny little TV and sort of trying to work out what the hell was going on. And you had to hold the like giant rabbit ears at certain at turn to 2. So that it would like, actually pick up anything, but it was and you had to put like 10 nuclear powered batteries in it.
That sounds like you might have had yourself a Sinclair TV-80.
Could have been
by Uncle Clive.
Could have been.
You might have done. Sorry,
that's it.
Still single,
right.
ladies.
I watched Clive on Clive, but it's that's how I remember the third one. I remember sort of seeing bits of the third one on that and thinking it was kind of cool, and there were boobies and stuff. So
yeah, but
I was down.
It was one of those ones that had whichever horror movies I was renting or seeing somehow, that would be on the trailer reel on the front of the tape, and it'd be, they're back, and this time all hell's breaking loose, or whatever. What I mean?
Kind of like it did before. We're not really sure. We haven't nailed this down yet.
We're not quite sure, but it's definitely coming out in the future.
We have money now.
That's what bothers me, right? Like, yeah.
We have money now.
Give us your fucking money, you bastards.
I'm still on this whole thing because I'm listening on the radio. Sorry, I'll shut up in this. But the whole. I still think it is the funniest thing, and like small print on radio ads is the funniest thing.
So good
because it's just the curtain dropping. It's like you just going like, this is the best product in the world. It will make you 5 million feet tall and give you a giant cock. Not really true. I'll really look to feel. I don't believe a word we say. It's like what?
The preceding 90 seconds was completely lies. It's like, whoa!
Give us your money now.
No hiding that in a fucking completely non-visual medium, is there? Rattle off as quick as you can.
Legal obligation. Okay. Anyway, sorry. You're going to say something probably way more constructive.
I don't recall, but I enjoyed that very much, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were talking about the marketing behind.
Oh, okay, yeah. Very, very, very like, we want this to be a kind of Freddy slasher thing. Because there's a bit where where Pinhead, or the Hell Priest, if you're watching Clive, he mocks Christ at the altar. Yes. And does the pose, and it just doesn't sell very well. And it's like, that should be this completely transgressive, perverse image. But off the back of video recorder face, it doesn't really have the weight. And he just he pretty much just kind of goes, nah, 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 I'm like Jesus is stupid, and then moves on. And it's like, that should be the arch kind of perverse image in the movie, surely.
And he melts like a cross into the guy's hand, doesn't to the priest's hand.
The priest's hand.
It says, "Thou shalt not worship fallen idol." Because I think the idea is that it's the first time he's actually unbound somehow from the box, and he's.
Well, this is the whole thing you touched upon earlier, with like him and his human form have become separated, and it's like, but Pinhead's behaving in exactly the same way he did before. Like what?
And what do you mean separated? Like what? Like. What? What does that mean? Well, when you say like, oh, they're made out of people, it's like, well, if they're made out of people, how do they just appear out of nowhere and do?
They die very easily in part 2 when they get turned into people. You know what I mean? Like, Ken Crumb just kills them. It's like, oh, that's way less. I like because it's like it shows that the Chatterer was a child. And it's like that's really
that's
fucked up. That's really messed up. That's a great little bit of. Thrown away.
And it's like, why is because they do that thing where like they reveal his eyes randomly in the middle of that film, but it's like he's supposed to be blind and have his mouth wired open, and it's like, is that because he talked too much as a kid, or I don't know.
What does that mean? What was his punishment? Like,
is it a punishment? Is it a punishment though? That's the thing with all these things. It's like, I don't know if. And again, it gets really vague in the latter films because it's just like, his dick's been pulled up over his face, or whatever. And it's just like, okay.
That one's called One's called Five Skin.
That one's called Look at My Gooch. Or whatever, Tony.
Perineum.
But
spiciest demon of all.
Better, like it. Let's go with it. There also looks like a significant amount of fire damage to that door. That look at him taking his pants off with his
I love this guy though.
I guess this is 80s sex. He's got his socks all the way.
I'll be keeping my large Y fronts on.
He's the typical sort of yappy dude. Yeah. He's got balding. He's pear-shaped.
He's definitely 28 as well. Like in 1986.
Yeah. He works in a bank, so I guess he's sexy.
It's those white pants wedged up his arse, and just the shirt untucked. Well, not tucked. You wouldn't have it tucked into the pants. The high-riding socks.
I forget.
But this is fucking horrible. This is really not. I believe there's a cut bit here where the hammer's wedged in his head or something.
Ooh.
It's really nasty.
Especially like knocks his jaw and stuff. Like it's pretty grim, yeah. You know, but it's like this is the thing as well. You have to remember, like, this is basically a housewife that purely for mind-blowing sex has been driven to murder. You know, and it's like she's literally just butchered someone with a hammer. You know, but she's willing to kill because orgasm, or whatever. I mean, I guess is that another sort of like men don't understand fannies? Like, you know, women will kill for a good shag. Well, they know.
Women kill for a fucking good shag. Why, I'm Clive Barker. And welcome to the audio commentary for me film Hellraiser.
Yeah. Welcome to the fucking audio commentary on Clive Barker.
Clive Barker.
As I understand it, women will kill for a good shag. I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know where like
which is cool, man. Like I don't know. Like I think it's good. I like that though. I like that kind of like whoa, like because and then we stay with her afterwards as well. And it's like she's like literally having to deal with the fact that she just killed someone. She's like, what? And now there's no turning back.
I think that's what's not. And nice that's another thing. You can chart her journey. You watch her. She's developed. You watch her sort of go down and down and down and down.
There's a lot of that with this film as well. There's a lot of the sort of point of no return stuff. You know, it's like everyone has a point of no return, and you're always across it before you realise you want to go back. Is the kind of, you know, it's like with Frank stuff. He was just sort of like, I'm bored of doing a sex around the world. I guess I'll just
doing a sex around the world.
But, you know,
sex around the world.
This box, what makes it even better than sex or whatever.
I
mean, is it also potentially a commentary on sort of drug use and that? You know, I don't know.
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think it's drug use, and I think people have tried to fit it as a commentary on the AIDS crisis, but people do that about every 80s horror film.
They seem to be like rope and shit. So,
yeah, I mean, there's certainly ones I'm sure where that is the case, but like, people try to shoehorn that reading into quite a lot of kind of 80s horror. On a less serious note, these films and their loose concept of how people's skin works, because Frank seems to sort of gradually grow back by like sucking the essence out of corpses or drinking their blood or something. He's kind of grow back, but then he just wears Andy Robinson's skin like a suit, and it's like, well, wouldn't he look like the guys? And then even better than that though is in the second one where Kirsty puts on her stepmom's skin and just looks like her.
Yeah, exactly.
It
was like the face off. It's like skin isn't like heart. It's not shaped like your face. Like you gotta like just wear it and look like people.
Pop it on, mate. Pop it on. And
no one would ever know.
I think they do a bit of stuff with Kirsty, like they make it look a bit loose around her eyes, but it's like, no, you'd be like rub 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 rub, because at least in Bad Taste, when that character wears the other character's skin, it looks rubbish and baggy like it would. Oh, Dan Lyle says, throw salt on him.
Oh, yeah, I think he said something about that, but there's that thing as well. Like he sort of seems to have his lips and his eyes and eyelids, but not. I guess not the skin around. I guess
there's a nice detail with all the veins on this kind of phase of the makeup. You can see veins on his kind of.
Oh yeah, it's incredible makeup. I mean, it's
just trying to fit it into the story, isn't it?
Oliver Smith, who plays Skinned Frank, is in the second. He's in the second one as the guy. Yes, Skank. Sorry. For we must portmanteau everything.
Things, yeah.
He's the guy. You know, the insane guy who Chenard brings back and puts on the mattress with using the razor, and he thinks his skin's crawling with bugs, so he cuts himself and starts bleeding on.
Okay.
That's the same guy. Apparently in the original draft, he was supposed to cut his dick off.
Of course.
Because of course he was.
Because of course. I mean, it's in fitting with the themes, I guess. Wing Kong Exchange gives £5 English pounds. What looks tastier, the rat burger from Demolition Man or the lovely sliced rat fillet that Frank serves up during the sex scene later? I'm going to go with the rat burger.
Oh, yes.
I'm partial to a burger. No issues about rat fillet.
Well, at least it was cooked.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Rat tartar. Served up during sex.
Can we have sex now? I mean, I know it has no skin on it, but...
But apart from that, it's fine. He's got like...
I can't see your ear.
It's just all cartilage. Can you hear me? I love all the goo dripping off him as well. Just oozing goo.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there is some dialogue in there about like I'm in constant pain, but you think he'd be a bit more like,
totally.
Can you bring me some paracetamol? No, codeine. Codeine. But I can't take it for too long because I'll get constipated. That's the least of your problem.
He can't poo out his rat. He's constipated in the codeine. Now, you can take paracetamol and ibuprofen at once. Do remember if you're in a lot of pain. But only 3 times a day. Ow.
He grabs her hand.
I'm just gonna stand in the centre of this room until you bring another man for me to drink. Ooh, ow. Ooh.
Yeah. Hurry up.
There should be a wide shot of it, and it shows he's wearing that other man's pants. Big white pants. Oh yeah, the exotic pet shop. There's a fucking monkey in there.
Yeah. Yeah, because the guy comes in and eats the locusts. Yeah, it's like Adrian's pet shop.
Alan Moore the tramp that comes in, and then I think
yeah.
I think because there's another. Hello, I'm a magician.
Whatever.
There's another
sex man.
There's another tramp guy in the third one, which I think is a different actor, but I'm not sure if it's supposed to also be Alan Moore again.
Well, because his face. No, I think it's supposed to be the same character because his face is on. You know, at the end of the second one, when the pillar comes out of the mattress,
right?
His face is on for some fucking reason. Because I think he's supposed to be Jeff Devil or whatever. Like, I don't know. He's some sort of
Jeff Devil. I'm eating these locusts for my next comic book. I mean.
Alright, I'm Jeff Devil. I am. I love a locust. I do. I think it's fantastic.
Tastes a bit like chicken, apparently. But then everyone says that, don't they? Why don't you try one? Fuck off.
It's got loads more protein in it. It's true.
Right. It's great. I don't shower, but you know what? After something like 8 days, your body cleanses itself naturally. Give it a go. Why not? Top tip, that. Hey, I'll see you later. So he's got one of those caps as well from the 80s that has no top.
Visor. The old visor.
The visor, yeah.
I'm, as someone who listens to a lot of Gory Looking Chain, I enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. And your missus is a knitter.
I got a van. Oh, look at this sexy guy that she's brought back. This sexy shaved-headed, bleach-haired guy with his...
It's a bit sort of like Biff, Sting and... I'm trying to think now. I don't know.
If Sting and another person had a tie made of bacon, he's got the blue Action Man pants.
He does.
Where are those, Frank? Where are the Action Man pants?
Walking on the moon.
Walking on the moon. Medium Sting.
We live in the parallel universe where Sting and the Police had an illustrious career, but in this parallel universe, he was murdered before they could take off.
He was murdered by a Hellraiser.
He was dragged to heck by a skinless Frank. What happens to those people? I would love to know that as well, because they have the life sucked out of them. Which is it in this one or in the second one where you see they sort of jam their hand in the back of their neck and somehow is that osmosis or something?
I think
How are you
that
doing?
happens in at least the first two, yeah, possibly the third. Yeah, that thing where they insert their hands into them, and it's kind of cool as an invasive image. But it's also like it's when he gets dressed, it's like, why? You weren't bothered before. You're not even nearly ready. Like,
how's she going to explain that when he's downstairs going, yeah, have you seen my favourite shirt? She's like, here it is.
Instead of ruining my husband's shirts, why don't I just put loads of TCP on a lilo?
Yeah, why don't we get some bandages?
Yeah, because that's what she has in the second one when Ken Cullum's like getting a feel of her skinless bum through a bandage because of his invisible man fantasies or whatever. Yeah, skinless bum.
How has he got the box as well? Like, you weren't form. So how have you got the box?
That's right.
I would just love them.
It came out the bloody floorboards. It also shows that...
Yeah, because they do...
Sorry.
No, go on.
The Cenobites have very poor administration of their victims. Because she's kind of like, oh, Frank Cotton. And they're like, yes, we got him. Ha, ha, ha. And she's like, no, you didn't. They're like, shut up, we totally did. And when she strikes a deal with them,
Butterball, check the Rolodex. I told you we should have moved to paperless.
Moved to paperless. Did you leave the back door unlocked again? No.
Did Frank give us permission to share his information across platforms?
I've told you about GDPR before.
Get out, Butterball. Why are you wearing sunglasses?
Why is he wearing? Oh, my allergies.
He's like the fat robot from Futurama in the when they go to university in Robot House, and when he gets nervous, he eats.
And again, Butterball was supposed to be the lead Cenobite, so there you go. It's his glasses go into his skin and stuff. And it's like, what was his deal? What was Butterball apart from being fat? Because when he dies,
I can't remember the second.
Because he's a fat guy. He's a fat guy. He's just a fat guy.
Oh, he's
because Simon Bamford, who plays him, is a very skinny guy. Under a bunch of stuff, I guess. Under a bunch of butter. Butter. Rich, creamery butter.
Butter. We talk about bacon.
Butterball! He's just sitting there watching TV. What is this advert about? Like, we cover it in butter. Is it dirty? Anyway, sorry. Simpson.
Rich, creamery butter. Yes.
Yeah. So he's up there howling at the moon or whatever. It's like, maybe don't do that. Like, while you can't fend off anyone with skin, why not howl at the moon?
And it's kind of like, because what's his... I can't remember what Frank says. He doesn't want to draw the Cenobites' attention.
He's doing a shit job.
Howling at the Moon,
like,
and having someone murder businessmen.
Yeah, but then what would get their attention? Like, doesn't the box need to do that?
Well, Ivan made a point, like, and it fires on for thoughts I've had, but Ivan had a point separately to that. Like, it seems that just random users of the box get turned into Cenobites, firstly. And secondly, as far as the Hell career ladder goes, Pinhead has had an amazing time. Like, since the beginning of time in the last 80 years, he's risen to rather a senior position in Hell, which I'm sure he's got on his LinkedIn. But it's like, it's really quite senior position in Hell, Pinhead. Well done.
Because the Cenobite it means it's like a monastic order, isn't it? It's like a
They're
sort of a member.
They're called the Order of the Gash, which I assume means what it means. There's no innuendo to laugh at. It's probably just means what it means.
Well, there you go. That sort of just adds credence to my fanny theory, doesn't it? I'll sit pretty on that one.
Duncan Casey's debut album adds credence to my fanny theory.
My high school band, Credence Clearwater Revival fanny theory.
Some are born and raised to wave the flag. Ooh, they're red, white, and blue.
There's something happening here. It isn't exactly clear.
Oh,
that wasn't weird.
No. Oh, by the way, a year ago today we were doing Empire Strikes Back.
Was that a year ago today?
Well, I think it might have been a year ago yesterday or tomorrow, technically, because Thursdays. But yeah, because I have the folder for all the graphics and things, and I'm at that stage now where dates have started to somewhat overlap. And
my goodness,
Empire Strikes Back. So there you go.
Wow.
I was thinking,
my wife was.
I was thinking somewhat guiltily about how when we put a trilogy up, there's this kind of assumption that the first one's going to win. But then I remembered Star Wars, that didn't happen. Indiana Jones, that didn't happen. Whereas Hellraiser it did. So,
Yeah. And John Wick. Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. But I think, I guess there's also the assumption that we'll do the others as well. But if you tell, look when he comes out of the closet and goes like, "I'm so bored. Here's rat." It's like, do you want to look at the rats?
Supper's
he's just, all he's
ready.
doing is he's trying to put her off, right?
Yeah.
Because he's like, you better not enjoy that. You better not enjoy that. I was the best. I was
I was better and I've got no skin. And Andy Robinson made her cry. Oh, Andy Robinson. Andy Robinson. Yeah, James.
With your stupid jumper.
Did we put all Rockies against each other, right? We put Rocky 1 to 5 or something, and then 4-1?
Yeah, 1 to 4, I think. I think it was 1 to 4, but yeah, 4-1.
Vicky Livesey says, looks like my husband's kebab he had last weekend. I mean,
I thought 4.
Apparently this is just a fun bit of trivia. This scene was horrendously rushed because the location manager didn't have the keys to the place and couldn't let them in. And it does not. It looks.
That's just.
It looks fine. I read that before I watched it. I was kind of like, oh my god, like, what's going to be going on here? What kind of? But it's just like, it's just fine.
Yeah.
Look at it, so rushed. It makes me sick.
Again, like, you could have just dressed the set with that. I don't understand why you needed a Chinese restaurant.
There's one wide shot, isn't there? There's one wide shot, and it's like, fine. Had to have the Chinese.
But that's the thing with independent filmmaking, like, quite often happens, and you kind of go, yeah, we could have done this anywhere, but we were pulling a favour. That's probably Clive Barker in the background. It kind of looks like him. We could have done this anywhere, but we booked a Chinese restaurant, and then because of time, we couldn't get any wides. So it just looks like we did this, in the canteen and put a dragon in the background.
Right, and a few bowls in front of him.
He's wearing a suit now. Why is he wearing a suit? It's like,
I mean, that must.
It's like Sean Connery in The Rock. Like, I want the shave and a shower and the feel of a shoot. It's like, yeah, but
you've been in prison for 40 years, mate. You probably felt loads of shoots. He's been in solitary confinement. The joke doesn't make sense in the context of the film. Also,
did the Xenobites do bum stuff?
They do. It's true. It's true. They have bum stuff.
They did bum stuff. Michael Small sent us 10
Thank you, Michael.
It says, evening lads. Evening lads. Annalise is still in the US. She says, hi.
I'm holding down the fort in Reading, ordering pizza and looking forward to this. Thanks to both of you for keeping us entertained every Thursday for nigh on 15 months now. Well, there you go. Thank you. Yes, I mean, we've just obviously figured that out. He looks like he reads the weather.
Or is a reporter for the Daily Planet.
Yeah, imagine if she was Superman.
Superman.
Like, enough of this being a good thing. I'm going to have a one-day stand.
One day stand. I'm Superman.
It's like, and then someone tries to bludgeon him to death with a hammer, and he's like, "Please stop doing that."
One time he tries to he takes a walk on the wild side. Someone tries to bludgeon him with a hammer. Da, 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 da. I wanted to bomb a lady in a burnt room. Now she's trying to smash me head in. The hammer should be green kryptonite hammer.
It's like, whoa.
Oh, Frank's had to get involved.
Who would win, Superman or Pinhead?
Da, 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 da. Well, apparently Pinhead's essentially mortal and fucking useless, so probably Superman.
Because let me see that. Oh, you know, we're gonna look at him. He goes like, "Let's find the sweet spot." There it is. It's like, what are you doing? What is that?
The finger in the neck thing. The motif.
She might as well put it in his ear for all it matters. Like,
I think that's the thing. I think there's lots of things that Clive Barker, had he been interested in making more himself, in a more hands-on way, perhaps would have followed up on a lot of these motifs, whereas they've been handed over to other people who just kind of run with them in a way that perhaps wasn't how they were intended. I don't know. I don't know.
But it's one of those sort of things where you go, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I get it. He needs victims in order to sort of be made whole, and that's fine. I mean, I understand what I'm seeing. It's just like, and then thematically, again, like I say, thematically it's strong, so it sort of doesn't matter. You know, it's kind of like what you said about things like Terminator 2 and stuff. It doesn't hold water when you start poking at it, but thematically, it's and character-wise, it makes a lot of sense. You know, it sort of holds water, so you kind of go. It's the same thing with this, I think. You know, it doesn't have to. You know, so when one of them like starts dragging a knife up the wall or something, and blood comes out, and you're like, I mean, is the house alive now? Like, I mean, what? It's like, what's going on? But it doesn't matter. You know, it's just imagery, basically, and these are not magical beings at the end of the day. Kind of like,
well, that's the thing, isn't it? I do think.
Help me out.
No, absolutely. I think it's something we've talked about.
No, not you. I mean, I'm saying that's what the film's doing.
Oh, right. It's only 90 minutes. Give us a break, won't you? He's turned into a Frankenstein.
He took my dick.
Frank's in the background just screwing it on.
Because it appears it's achieved nothing. You look at Frank and you're like, what did that do?
Yeah, I mean, what he needs is pants, doesn't he? I need his pants, Kirsty.
Hello. It's Frank. It's under Frank.
No skin, you remember me.
I got no skin to hold me down. There are no skin on me. That's my
I think the problem with this is it's a great one and done. And if the thinner you spread the premise, you know, it becomes like very thin gruel quite quickly. Because I think things that I think when this really kicks off as well, the stuff with the Cenobites is really cool. There's is it Christopher Young who did the music? Is it Christopher Young? I probably got that wrong. It's Christopher something, I'm certain. He uses that motif of kind of like a bell tolling. But it's kind of
Christopher Young.
It's like Christopher Young. It's kind of a bell tolling, I guess, in like a minor key. So it's kind of, you know, it doesn't have that kind of grand welcoming sound of a bell. It's this kind of dire sort of diving like rang that they use. And it's really kind of like, hey, that sounds hellish. It's like taking kind of an ecclesiastical sound and you've kind of inverted it. And that's kind of what you expect about. Really nice. And then they do all the stuff, all the chiaroscuro lighting stuff, right? So like there's all the slits with the blue and everything.
Coming through the sort of drywall, that's a very... you know, they've used that in a lot of them, don't they? A lot of these.
Yeah.
Oh, not the box! You threw the fanny out the window, I guess.
You threw it into that street.
Well, she took. I mean, again, maybe I'm clutching at straws now, but like, you know, a youthful girl took away his fanny.
Okay, even I might have to draw a line.
No.
It's the way you said it. The way is funny.
What I mean. Why are there two nuns? That never happens. No, but as in, like, she's the one who takes away essentially his sort of sex, or he has control over. That represents sort of his dominion over feminineness. So I guess it's kind of like she's taking it back effectively, and
she's reclaimed it and everything. I totally get that.
Yeah. Shut up.
Shut up. Michael and Annalise do stuff say nerdy nitpick of the night. In terms of their overtones and frequencies, all bells are in a minor key. I know nothing about music, so fair enough. I'll take that. It sounds scary, is what I mean. Look, here we go. You see that opening flower to her in bed? What could that possibly mean? Subtle imagery. But hey, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's a good thing. Yeah, I know nothing about. I don't have a training about music or anything. I should probably stay in my lane a bit.
I didn't know that. I don't really have training. But that's weird, isn't it? Like the nurses just sat there and I'm watching the flower show.
Time for flowers opening on BBC. I mean, America Channel 2.
AM TV. All this stuff in the sort of institute, and I think the second one does this really well as well. It's sort of kind of like the institute and stuff seems to be in on it. Like as soon as we sort of go here, it's almost like she's already in hell. Yes. It's kind of like, and they do that with the latter ones in a really shitty way, where it's kind of like, oh, he was in hell all along, and it's like, I found this in your vagina.
I found this vagina in your vagina. I like also the nurse kind of goes like, well, I'm just going to lock you in here.
Also Lionel Richie. All night long.
All night.
Just walks out.
Oh, Jumbo.
Yeah. I was like, oh, mumbo jumbo.
It's a really weird bit of that song. It's a great song, but it's a really odd little bit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Lionel Richie it's impossible to be unhappy if you're ever feeling down, but put Lionel Richie live into YouTube and
see also quickly. The Commodores, his previous, Indeed. I fucking love the Commodores. They come, it's too funky. She's a brick house. Mighty. She's letting it all hang out. She's a brick house.
Yeah. I played that once. We did Brick House.
Oh, nice. It's a banger. It's a banger.
Oh, fuck it.
Oh, Jambo. Yeah,
see, look, she intuitively uses it, and pink stuff comes. Pink sperm or something comes out.
Now,
of
those
it.
of you who've had sex with a lady will remember when pink energy bolts come out of her fanny. It means you've done it properly, and that's how a baby's made. That's the baby energy escaping.
Look at her. Look, she's playing with it instinctively. She's sort of raptured by it. She knows what to do. You know what I mean? I'm sure there's something to.
No, I'm totally behind that reading of it. I think it's written. I think it stacks up if you look at it across at least the first two films. So I like that this is classic kind of Freudian uncanny valley shit. Not uncanny valley, just uncanny stuff. Where the familiar becomes unfamiliar and stuff like that. And I like the kind of I think the second movie really overreached itself in what it's trying to do. I think it's trying to do things that they just don't have the budget for, or perhaps even the technology existed for quite yet. But the Leviathan is fucking cool, and their version of hell as a kind of MC Escher labyrinth. That's cool. That's a really cool bit of imagery. So I really like that. I think her striking a deal with the Cenobites and stuff, and it is quite scary. She goes in there with them, she strikes a deal with them, they chase her down and everything, but she's able to sort of deflect. And yeah, I do kind of go like, yeah, this is a cool one and done. Because when you watch the second one, it's kind of like, well, Kirsty's just gonna have to deal with this shit again. I know she comes back in 7.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But
yeah, but and it's like her husband or something is a mean poo-poo head, so.
Oh, I see.
To hell.
Right.
Well, heck.
Did you know?
Yeah, so this big Willy thing, if you look at when it starts chasing her down the corridor, you can see the trolley, people pushing. It's a bit like.
Yeah, this is. This is another thing where they've overreached themselves. I mean, because it's cool. It's a cool idea, but it's like you weren't really ready for this, were you? and for everything we've seen, all the creepy psychosexual stuff, and then a willy monster that's upside down. It's like, okay. But I'm on board with it. I do like the movie. I'm on board with it, and I think it's cool.
No, I mean, I did. There's nothing wrong with that. And do you know what? As well, the thing is, most things nowadays, even on a shoestring budget, can produce sort of semi-reasonable effects. And I say this as someone who, by the way, I say this as someone who does low-budget horror, so I have nothing against it whatsoever. I think it's a necessary thing. I think we've become a bit oversaturated with it. You know, I mean, I do. You know, I look at what's on Netflix and stuff like that, and it's all like Garden Hove 5, and you're like, you know,
Garden Hove 5. There is a film. There's a film on Shudder called Slacks about a pair of killer trousers. But I do think that's doing it ironically, like that film Rubber, that's just about the killer tire.
Well, but that's the thing, is when we sort of inherently move over into parody and stuff, and it's kind of like it's very hard to strike that balance, to sort of take itself seriously. Hell is ironing, apparently.
We don't not wrong, am I right? I like the blood going up into the IV is cool. That's
pretty.
And I think her kind of being all sweaty and stuff, so she catches the light in a certain way, and the kind of in-camera light changes here are really cool. They really sell the effect.
I like her too. I think Ashley Lawrence is really good, and it's a shame, you know, I don't really know that she's. I'm sure she has been in other stuff, but you know, so I think she's really great. You know?
I hope very much that she makes a ton of money doing photo ops and signing pictures and stuff, as horror writers often do. I hope she's coining in from that.
Yeah, fuck it. Yeah. She's, you know,
I love that the fingers in the mouth. Because I had that.
That's so weird.
That was supposed to happen that was supposed to happen in our film.
Oh yeah,
but it wasn't to you. But it wasn't safe.
But Mike Geary picked his bum the whole time,
right up to the elbow. It's amazing how he managed to get it all the way up there. I wanted that because I like.
All right, going for a take, are we?
It was like All Creatures Great and Small, but in a kind of auto-erotic way.
Without the big long glove. Yeah, no, it is a great imagery. It is a great image, that sort of violative.
Well, it's penetration kind of almost by proxy. You know, it's invasive. It's kind of rape-like. It's just a horribly unpleasant thing to have, unwarranted.
I would lick Mike's fingers. The man is clean. I was just joking.
I assure you.
Clean as a whistle, I say.
Captain Meets Adventure says, Richard, can you ask Duncan about Sly acting in Rocky 1 and in First Blood? I'm not sure what you mean, Captain Meets Adventures. Could you rephrase?
Ask me about it.
Sly acting in Rocky 1 and First Blood? I phrased it as a question.
So? I mean, yeah, he's great. I don't know. Yes. I really like him in those films.
Yeah, Captain Meets, rephrase. Sorry, I think we might have missed something in the chat or something.
Add specificity.
I did actually. I've got Doug Bradley's book because he did a talk at Harbour Lights, which is the Southampton Pitch House when I lived in Southampton, and obviously they told our uni like, hey, you know, this guy's doing this talk. So I went and saw Doug Bradley's lecture, and then I chatted to him briefly and got his book signed. And he's got a very interesting book called Behind the Mask of a Horror Actor. That was about 2005, and it's about the process of. It's semi-biographical, but it's mostly a history of horror actors. So he's very, very interested in knowledge about Lon Chaney, for example, and Lon Chaney Jr., early horror. He's very good friends with like Robert Englund and all these other people. They've become friends from conventions and stuff. They did some movies together. So yeah, really interesting book. It's worth a read. It's a great kind of charter of American horror and stuff about Hellraiser as well. So it's here somewhere. I got him to sign my ticket stub as well because I thought, why not? Double trouble.
Nice. He's cool, man. I like Doug Bradley. He did like an advert for the post office or something, where he was like a high school coach or something, and it was really weird to see him. It was right around when I was doing ads as well, and I was like, "Oh, Doug Bradley is
strange."
Doing ads.
It's quite recognisable because he looks like, as a human being, he looks quite inoffensive. Like you would never say that's the Pinhead guy. I think that works when they take the makeup off him because it's kind of like he looks sort of like he's got quite a kind of friendly face. He doesn't look very threatening.
Well, especially back then as well, like when he was sort of sorry, Doug Bradley, but he still had hair, and he was like, he just looked normal.
But no, like because you'd never call it as him, not in a million years.
No.
Question from Stephen Allen, which I like a lot. Has Duncan ever eaten 64 slices of American cheese? 64 slices of American cheese.
64. Wine.
I've got Captain Meets Adventures is rephrased. I've had a beer. No worries, man. Duncan, how would you rate Sly Stallone's performances in Rocky and First Blood? The first of each series.
I think I answered them. I mean, good.
Okay.
I mean, was he like iconic? Like those are iconic movies. I mean, Jesus, what do you say about that? I mean, no. I mean, yeah. I really don't know what to add. I mean, I think they're him, aren't they? They're very much him.
Different versions of him, I think.
Different versions of him. I think that Rocky was obviously his thing of like that's really very much sort of his rags to riches thing, and then Rambo he retooled into being more about him, I think, because it wasn't originally that, but yeah, I don't really know what to say. Dude, like, you put me on the spot there, but it's fantastic.
Tell us everything.
Yeah.
Like, see, this is Frank wearing Andy Robinson's skin.
Yeah, and just looking like him.
Dad, you don't understand. Dad, they have the chains and the whips and the thing.
He's just a simple tailor. That's a Star Trek reference that you won't get. You're a monster. That's right.
Yeah.
One had his scrotum pulled up over his head. He smelled awful.
I love how you batted that away and went back into your impression. It's just like, yeah, whatever, I'm doing my voice, shut up.
Star Trek. I was busy doing the characters.
Yeah, I know, and I ruined it. I ruined it as usual. Oh, God. Yeah, again, very laissez-faire attitude to how people's skin attaches to their bodies, but whatever.
Well, it's the let's put some gunk on his forehead. That'll do. That'll do her.
That'll do her.
I do like the
ugly.
The gross connective thing of him saying "daddy" is what tips her off. I like that. That's got kind of psychosexual shit in it as well. Okay, that's the.
Which is come to daddy.
Nice and gross.
We done a sex.
I was just doing a sex in your mother's fanny. Normal things.
But again, it's that the freaky thing is, of course, is that he's just. I mean, it's almost the sort of face-off thing, isn't it? It's like he's wearing his. So the man she was running away. It's the ultimate cuckold thing, isn't it? It's like knobbing someone else's wife, looking like their husband.
Yeah.
It's like the ultimate, like having eaten them or something. It's like pretty gross.
Nice and grey, isn't it?
And it turns her like, I mean, I guess it's a sort of post-coital thing as well, but it's like it turns her into sort of caring, like she's stroking her hair, she's being nice, which is fucked up. That's the worst thing. The best horror stuff does that, doesn't it? It's like it's much more horrible to be around people who are being, on the face of it, caring and
it's that kind of false. It's the false friend, isn't it? It's because also like the way he strokes her arm, the way he looks at her, and again, this speaks to Andrew Robinson as performer. He's playing Frank, playing him, so he has to hint at what's going on behind the eyes and the face.
Someone says that they were like, oh, he did the eye thing for real, and it's like, yeah, because he doesn't jam his finger in his eye. He doesn't.
Well, yeah, I can do that now if you want. Like it's not like he takes his eye out and rinses it under the tap. You know what I mean? Like, imagine touching your eye. Oh my god! Millions of contact lenses.
It's really weird how this plays.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's really weird how this plays sort of without sound on, because it's almost like she just went, "Do you want to have a look in there?" And then slams the door.
Fancy a looking Ed, yeah. Go on.
It's like, I'll put your dad in a toaster.
Taste my pleasure.
Steaming on the. Yeah. We want the man what's done this.
We will show you the rudest thing we can think of.
Did you put those candles there? Because I didn't see them candles last time.
Oh no!
Fuck off!
Is that filleting?
Fuck off, you penny bastard!
If you don't tell us,
that's a fight. That's a bit of a fire hazard. And if you look at the door behind me, there's been some fire damage before. So it's probably best we don't.
There's no Highlight sprinkler system or even fire alarms. We don't have
the halon system.
We don't have marked fire exits. Lots of dry wood here, guys. I quite like the idea that before that, Pinhead was there with the lighter. Just I think she's coming. Not now, Butterball.
Will we use the Yankee candles this time?
No, those are the nice ones.
I'm saving those. Yes, I'm saving those for when the Queen comes to tea.
Besides, I might want one for my bath.
Later, I have to have a special bath. All these wounds I have.
I have to bath in salt water.
And sleep on a special orthopedic cushion.
In heck!
To heck with me.
Does she say go to hell in this one? They say go to hell in every one I've seen,
I'm pretty sure.
I think. And I think you get to do that once.
Yeah, she does, because the lady one goes, we can't, we're already there. And it's like, I think, or was that in the second one? I can't remember. But either way, it's like, yeah.
That was my
and then
my issue I meant to say earlier with Hellraiser 3. So you got the game Doom, which takes place in Heck, and then in Doom 2, it's on Earth because the demons come to Earth, and Doom 2 is called Hell on Earth. Okay, Doom 2, Hell on Earth. Hellraiser 3, Hell on Earth. Right. No more so than Hellraiser 1 or 2. I mean, there is some Hell on Earth, but we've already seen that twice. You can't call the film Hell on Earth.
I believe that's in reference to war, though, isn't it? Because there's a lot of stuff about, like, her dad was in the Vietnam War, and then
do you know what I love?
Pinheads.
What I love about the stuff, ironically, all the stuff that's meant to be Vietnam looks like Kent, and that's the one they actually filmed in America. But it all looks like a sort of park in England. Whereas the World War One stuff's really cool. There's all mist and trenches and stuff.
Oh, yeah, the trenches and stuff. But I think that's what that's in reference to. So the Hell on Earth. That's what
I see. They were smarter than me. I took it literally like a Dumbo.
Well, I mean, it also has that because the whole thing is Pinhead's unchained and he can go around on Earth, but then he does anyway. So I don't really get.
Also, when he's in the pillar and he's talking out of the pillar. That's just.
I'm in a pillar.
That's very much just a bit of wood with a hole in it with a man's head in it, and it's not scary at all. He's just hello there, Pinhead here, and it's just like they show it with his.
I'm pretty sure that's the
third one, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty sure that's the first one I saw actually on my tiny TV, and I think like I remember thinking that was such a great concept, and I thought that's what kind of Hellraiser was in a way. But it's like I like that as a thing. Idea. Like I think it's a.
Because it's really horrible when the poor girl who gets her skin ripped off gets trapped in the pillar. It's horrible. But like, there's a bit where he's kind of in the pillar and he opens his eyes and it's like he's moulded into the pillar. But the rest of it is just sticking his head for a fucking hole. It's really not scary at all. It's like, you should go do those murders or whatever and bring me a Yankee candle. This is murder on my back.
Cinnamon. I like the snowdrop. I like the idea of that though, because I think it's kind of like suddenly he has to sort of plead with, he has to be enticing. That's what a lot of Hell is about, isn't it? It's the sort of Faustian bargain.
That is,
which this is
Pinhead
about
being kind of trapped and on the back foot. I think is cool.
Yeah,
and there's a lot to like in Hellraiser, but it got into
Hell is about that though, isn't it? It's about come on, sin. You want to put your hand in.
Yeah, of course.
Put your hand in there.
Temptation.
Yeah. Put your hand in, and you can have all the
sweets you want,
all the bums you want, all the sweets.
I will show you all the willies you can imagine, and boobies if that's what you're into. I'm not judging.
It'll be like The Naked Truth, or whatever that show's called, where people get their willies out. I don't know.
I could show you a version of Carry On where you actually see the boobs. I have such sights to show you.
Yes, on VHS.
I've got a version of Police Academy when you can see the lady sucking the man's willy for real.
And Back to the Future 4. Come on in.
I have a room covered in page 3's what I've cut out. You can go in there for 10 minutes and I won't tell your mum. I have such sights to show you.
Kelly Brook. Mainly. And Jordan. Pre-childbirth.
Up to the 3rd boob job where it still looked all right.
Prenatal.
You know that 10 free minutes of the sex channel you used to get? This tape is full of that for 3 hours.
Framed out fannies. Don't worry, the lines are closed. You don't have to phone up.
It's an HR Giga coffee table book where some of the things look like willies and you can see them and everything.
And the way Bubble then, Chatterer just goes like, go fuck yourself, you wise guy motherfucker, you. Come to hell and escape, will ya? You motherfucker, you.
Oh, God. Oh, just...
Come on.
So I was enjoying Hellraiser too much.
That was brilliant. It's like childish.
So I like it's a copy of Tomb Raider, but we have the cheat so Lara Croft's naked and you can see her bum when she does a flip. Down.
He's like stuck in like the sort of late 90s version of what porn was. It's like everyone like now is just like, well, I could just Google it. What is Google?
What is this Google? These horribly I love the really sort of like prudish vanilla versions of Cenobites.
What's just the mundanity of it all? Like,
you could come to my bedroom where I've got school yearbook photos of my sister's best friend. Her knockers are massive. Clang, clang,
clang. Why are you ringing that bell?
It's the hell bell.
Do you like the bell? Yeah, that rhymes. Except it's the heck back or something.
I've been to Heckenbeck. Oh, my friend, I've been to Heckenbeck.
I think that was heavily cut down, wasn't it? Like him getting ripped apart and stuff by chains.
Right, okay. They get in that nice, the kind of stretchy faced, kind of like in Brazil, you know, with all the his face. I was a little...
Yeah, see, what does that mean? Blood coming out of the walls and stuff, and like, have they sort of taken over the house somehow?
This is the thing, because I wondered if, because it's like they're in the sort of fabric of the house. Is it an illusion? And the house very much explodes. Very much explodes. And then in the second one, the cops come and find human remains in it. Because like you say, it landed in America.
So why's Julia got the box and why is her face flayed open?
It's just Cenobites is as Cenobites does.
And how do you run away from them when, like, as Pinhead's about to do, they can just go brilliant. And, like, they're right.
Your timing there was amazing.
That was Doug Bradley's original voice that he went with, but obviously it's you know. See, this is it. The Pinhead's dead here, right? Because she goes back off or whatever, and then
back off.
No, don't do that.
Hell, don't do that. I'm angry because no hats fit me anymore.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's very hard for me to get into festivals.
I have to put suntan cream between the pins. It takes ages. Why don't you use the spray-on kind? The what? There's spray-on kind, is there? In front of Kirsty.
Yeah, it's like, could we not do this now?
But seriously, it's an aerosol. It's been out for ages. How don't you know that? I'm working. Don't do this at work. Look at that. The boyfriend comes and gets her, having been absent for most of the film, and then in the second movie they just go bye, and he's just like, he's in the beginning, and they just fuck him off, and he doesn't come back. And again, they sort of kind of replace him with Gorman from Aliens, who's sort of like her love interest, kind of, but then he just fucking dies.
Do you like my bridal thing? What I got?
I'm not really a bride.
I was hiding under this see-through veil. Unnecessarily, because I'm a demon or whatever.
You would think I wouldn't have to do anything like this, but apparently I do.
It appears that in the time it took for me to explain that, you figured out how to dispatch with me. Yeah, look, he gets killed by falling rubble.
Debris. And his plan as a magical demon was to stab him.
And take off his sunglasses so he could see better, but he's got sewn closed eyes, so I guess that was just a completely fruitless fucking endeavour, wasn't it? Why take his sunglasses off?
I'm wearing sunglasses inside. Give me a moment. Oh, yes, of course, I'm blind.
I'm the Stevie Wonder of heck. Isn't she lovely?
Dunno. Can't see her.
Dunno. Can't see. Got the voice of Boris Johnson.
I think
he just bottled that.
My version of the
Willy Demon in the face.
Willy Demon. This is the thing. They do sort of just die, don't they? And like in Hellraiser 2, the Cenobites die way too easy.
If ever you wanted proof that this is a British film, smashing a milk bottle into its...
That's one of those good old American-style milk bottles that you see all the time in America, which is American.
Yeah. Look at its fingers as well. It's like...
It's a pretty useless-looking creature, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just angry at a willy or whatever.
If you're an upside-down willy, you'd be angry too. Oh no, I'm swimming backwards. Bye.
I guess hell is here or something or whatever, and this is what I mean. Like this sort of the film has to conclude in a sort of really hokey horror film.
I think it sets the tone for what follows, doesn't it? Because they just beat the demons. Use a cube, Sideshow Kirsty.
Why didn't Frank think of that?
Sorry?
Why didn't Frank think of that? Let's just... Well, because he's a man, I guess, and she's a woman. That's without a family.
Stephen says as if you worked with Doug Bradley. I haven't. I know people who have fairly extensively. Have you? Yeah, you haven't, right? You haven't met him or anything?
No, I've not. No, same as you, though. I do know people who have, but no.
Yeah, well, like I said, I liked his book very much, and his talk was very good as well. He's very knowledgeable about kind of golden age of Hollywood, and he's very knowledgeable about his craft and his industry, which is nice.
Yeah, this does a sort of a really low rent poltergeist thing, doesn't it? Where the house is like, but it just sort of fades to fire, and you're like, yeah.
Look at this. Look, and now they're just suddenly in a bit of Docklands.
A bit of Docklands with some arranged fire. And you're like,
it's just the chair. Look, I never noticed the chair last time. Just a burning chair.
A hell chair.
It's a metaphor, probably.
I don't know. What do you want from me? Shut up. I'm
dead or whatever. Can I die? Sure, why not?
Yeah, because doesn't the tramp rock up and turn into a flying demon? And
yes.
There's like an overpass behind them, and that's like an office building. All right. Hell tramp.
No, I'm Alan Moore. I'm here to tell you about my new 900-page novel about Northampton in the Neolithic period. Framed by...
No one gave me a name. I just fucking... Like, why did that guy's covered in
gelatin?
Look, it's like he's wearing a SWAT outfit. Oh, no, I'm on fire. Like, that's a pain in the ass. I better turn into an immortal fucking demon.
That normally fucking works, like... Bye.
I'll catch you later. I'm off to catch the show. It does that. It's a bit like, what are we saying?
I do.
That's
I like the cycle repeating though. I do like ending where we began, which makes it feel like a one and done. You know, it's just like the next sucker gets the box. You know, I like that.
What's your pleasure, sir?
Yeah.
I hope it isn't funny because.
Oh look, it's Billy Zane he's selling it to.
Oh yeah. No, well, it's Billy Zane by way of Lionel Richie.
Yeah. This film's full of covert Lionel Richies.
That's really what he was trying to say, was that Lionel Richie was a dirty bastard.
Yeah, Frisbee fuck I mate. Hello. Play fucking bad. Niall Buggy, that is a name and a half, isn't it? Like lead Cenobite. So the lead and female are the least described Cenobites of all.
Yeah, and they're right at the bottom of the cast list as well.
Well, there you go, Hellraiser. I liked Hellraiser. I do like it. We took the piss a bit, but I think it's a great kind of little one and done. I probably will get around to probably watching it. I wonder how much of my patience I can test by watching more Hellraiser. 4 was just like, because 4 is partially a prequel about the guy who created the puzzle box. But it's like he created it by accident. It's like someone asked him to build a puzzle box. He built it and it's like, oh no, shit, I opened the door to hell. Whoops, better do something about that. It's like, what?
Yeah, wasn't the thing? Well, because I thought he built it on the say so of some nasty count.
He's made to build it by the count, but I don't think the count gives him a spec or anything. I don't think he gives him like a blueprint.
But the count is into summoning demons, and I don't know, somehow or whatever, lightning, I guess, or something. That means that you put it in the microwave or whatever. There's that sort of
with some tinfoil
cross it. Yeah, I don't know. There's something to do with that and summary. Yeah, it's the missing piece for the count to then get.
That's the thing. There's a thing because it's like the box works, and it's kind of like, well, what? Oh yes, Dan.
You sound like the late Duke of Edinburgh.
Oh, I thought it was Jason Statham. What?
All that, yeah.
Let's. Yes, Dan Lyles. Adam Scott is in Hellraiser 4, and it's a fairly sizable role. Surprising.
He does the demon,
but he does a demon, yeah. Yeah, but it was surprising. We were watching it. We watched it, and Ivan was like, "Is that Adam Scott?" Because it said Adam Scott in the opening credits, and then it saw his face. It's like, no, but it is. It's much like Paul Rudd in Halloween 5, whichever one Paul Rudd's in. Yeah, it's a similar thing. Future megastar in kind of shit horror sequel. Yeah.
Hey, we've all got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I long for the day someone thinks enough of me to direct a shit horror sequel. I can't wait.
Hey, I'm waiting for my break into a shit horror sequel.
Yeah, no, the thing is about Duncan and I is like, we're not joking either. I actually really would like to make Leprechaun 12. That'd be a huge upgrade for me. So
I know someone who was very close to doing a Jeepers Creepers sequel.
Yes, as do I. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bit of a poison chalice, that one, though, perhaps.
Yeah, I mean, they've made it now, so I don't know. One of my friends is actually in it, but I don't know.
Did they make it from the pitch that we heard about? God, we have to be so cryptic. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no. As far as I know, no, I don't think so. But if they have, then said connection needs to be given credit. I
thought so. But yeah, them's the rules.
I believe it was something like. Francis Ford Coppola had some sort of say-so on all that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I got told that. Yeah, on Jeepers fucking Creepers.
Yeah, he had final say over who was to direct it or something. It was just like, what? And then, we had to ask Francis from his vineyard or whatever, can I do a Jeepers Creepers? He was probably like, what? I don't give a fuck.
glug. Yeah. Is American Zoetrope was his thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Did American Zoetrope make Jeepers Creepers or something?
I don't know. I mean, there's obviously some sort of connection to it, but maybe because I don't know. After all that sweet Godfather 3 money.
Well, there's this Scott Godfather 3 re-edit coming out, isn't there?
Oh, is there?
Because I suppose he did the redux of Apocalypse Now, of course, and there's some kind of. I've still, as I've said many times, I've still never seen any Godfather films.
I like the first one. I do. I think the first one's great. The second one that everyone bangs on about, I don't get it. I think it's baggy and long and boring. It much like sort of things like Casino and all those sort of like, because really when people put it on like Instagram or whatever, they're like classic scenes from movies, and it's just like, you fucking motherfucker, you. Hey, fucking, what's your fucking language? Hey, fuck you, motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck you up. And it's just like, you realise, that's the whole film, isn't it?
Well, these are the kind of like, I get a bit annoyed. I think because we live in this like nerd kind of the so-called nerd and geek culture, which are not kind of labels I particularly like, has gone so thoroughly mainstream now that if you get a list of the best films ever, it's got things like The Thing in it and, stuff like that. Whereas it used to be, those lists seem to be horribly influenced by blokey bloke geezer films for blokes. And it was always like, fucking Scarface, fucking Goodfellas, fucking Taxi Driver.
I know, I hear what you're saying. I would not write them off purely as
that.
No,
they're not that. They're not that. But when a top 10 list of the best films ever is just those films, that's what I'm talking about. You used to get that kind of quite a lot. And I think it's around the kind of Lads Mag time where, and of course, absolutely not. Like we're talking about like fucking Brian De Palma and Scorsese. I'm not mad, but when they're lumped together, it's like when they used to do like the top 100 actors of all time, and the top 10 was just fucking Al Pacino and Robert De Niro 5 times each in the top 10. You know what I mean? Like it was just like, do you remember like fucking Scarface when that geezer gets done with the chainsaw? Fucking. Remember Casino when the geezer gets done with the basement? Fuck. And it's just there was no analysis to it. There was no criticism. It was just kind of like remember when there was.
There's a lot of. Because I think you can watch some stuff of it on YouTube, but like Pacino in particular is a fantastic stage actor, and I actually think he did Glen Ross, but he did he played Shelley Levine instead of Ricky Roma, which is who he played in the film. He played the Machine, and he was great as the Jack Lemmon part from the film. I thought he was fucking amazing, and it's like and those scenes, and with David Harbour as well. That was really weird. He was in it as the Kevin Spacey character. What's his name? And it's like when you realise that Pacino's a fantastic actor, but it's kind of like all the stuff he's known for, sort of yelling and saying ass loudly. It's like he's great in those films, but it's like actually. His chops extend well beyond that. It's just sort of and I know what you mean. Like Scarface, I like Scarface, but I do think it attracted the wrong kind of crowd. It was the whole kind of MTV Cribs picture of fucking
That's
Scarface.
what I mean. And I'm not criticising people who like gangster films or anything like that. There was a type of mostly men who jumped on these things as the greatest films ever, and for some reason got this insane amount of sway. And that moment has passed now. Thank fuck. But like it would just be like you look at the list of best films and it would all be written by geezers of a certain age and they'd all be fucking war films and gangster films and there was nothing else and that time has passed, is what I'm saying. And I'm not criticizing people who like gangster films, who like war films or men. It's just there was a time when that dominated the discourse.
No, you're right, you are right, and I agree with you on that. I think it's like they there is still that sort of exploitative element. I think The Godfather is a great film. I don't think it really has the kind of giant subtextual chops that people seem to think it has. I just think it's a really nicely made film about a mob, and it's morally ambiguous. I suppose it's about saying kind of the chain of command is an inevitable thing or something. But it's not really. There's not an awful lot to it, we sort of blown. I think basically it's one of those sort of educated, well beyond its intelligence type situations. It's kind of like I think we've done. I think we've really wrung this out. There was no need to sort of say. Obviously, it has a great performance by Brando in it. It has Pacino's breakout thing. Yeah, all well and good, but it's kind of. I don't. Can we not just enjoy it as a good film and stop saying it's the greatest film ever made? Because it isn't. Yeah. I mean, it's a great film, but it is not.
It gets put, it's an example of thing that gets put on the same pedestal. I think. And I just found that really tedious, and it's something when I was first studying film that dominated the discourse. Again, that's all you'd ever hear. It's kind of like, there's more than 2 fucking genres of film, and there's more than 3 directors. Because look, Martin Scorsese's a fucking genius. I'm not mental. Like, so is Brian De Palma. I like Scarface. I prefer the original Scarface to be a complete fucking film studies hipster, if I'm honest, because it's not 9 hours long for a start. And I think there are better De Palma movies, like tons better De Palma movies.
I like Scarface just to go along for the ride. I'm one of those, like, let's just leave all the sort of bullshit at the door, and it's just like I like it. I prefer it because Carlito's Way was kind of the sort of spiritual, not a sequel, but it was a kind of a let's try and put that lightning back in the bottle kind of thing, and it's like it doesn't work. It just doesn't. I'm sorry, Carlito's Way to me is a bit like, it's just sort of like, but they try to include like a proper romance in it, so you've just got this constant voiceover of Pacino going, "Gail, oh yeah, Gail, I like it when you dance in the rain, Gail," and it's just like, what? And the name's Gail, so it's like Ray. I was like, fuck off. He did it all for the love of women. He came back to blah blah blah, and it's just kind of like, no, I don't like that. But I do think Scarface is basically GTA the film.
Well,
it's basically what GTA and obviously Vice City was that essentially. It was in that world, but it's like Scarface is like, that's what's attractive about GTA. That's what attracts people to that notion of it's the kind of not crony capitalism, but it's the sort of the toxic. It's the toxic side of capitalism writ large, and it's like, what if you were unencumbered by law, the legal system, and you just gave in to your baser instincts, and you just sort of thought,
it's
right,
the toxic version of the American dream, right? It's the dark American dream.
Exactly.
It's, you come as an immigrant and you take over, try and fuck your sister, and then get shot to death with a big pile of cocaine. Eric Granlund said, and in 10 years' time, top 10 lists will involve only comic book movies. Very,
You're not wrong
very
there,
probably, yeah. And I think, I enjoy a lot of them, but a lot of them are very bad, and a lot of them are very televisual. I mean, I really enjoy the Marvel films, but I view them as very expensive TV episodes for the most part. Certain ones have been made by certain directors very well and very interestingly. The Spider-Man films I like very much, but are they interesting cinematically? Not really. There was some cool stuff in the second one with all the Mysterio illusions and stuff, but I wouldn't really say they're terribly interesting or thematic films. They're exciting entries in the new Marvel thing, but are they terribly interesting movies? Not really.
I think, I think I said this with regards to Batman versus Superman, but it's certainly true of a lot of the Marvel stuff as well, is that so much of it is point A to B, like that. I mean, I know once Endgame came around, we got a bit of a conclusion, but so much of it is getting you from the last film to the next film. And that makes them, as a rewatchable prospect, quite hard. It's like, I don't think I'll really... Like, Infinity War, what's the point in watching that? All you need to know is that at the end, Thanos wins. He does his snap. That's it. Because really, the payoff is Endgame, right? So it's like you've got a 2.5 hour, whatever it is, film that you just don't need to watch. And the same thing with like Batman versus Superman. It's like, you knew as soon as they went BVS, Dawn of Justice, you're like, well, you've just said exactly what happens in the film. I know this is just going to set me up for Justice League, which obviously turned out to, that was like, tickling your balls and slapping your willy. That was just a sort of like, okay, like, well, like, you're going to have this big event movie. And it was just like, yeah, not by the way, yeah. And that's the problem with all these things. They're incredibly sort of just journeyman A to B crap. They're not, and that's the problem. They're spectacular when you go and see them in the cinema, and they're fine when you're on a schedule. But after that,
because there are ones in there that I think really show a director's voice, and they were, they do or did hire interesting directors and stuff like that. So something like Thor Ragnarok works perfectly well as a standalone. And it's very, very funny. It has Taika Waititi's voice all over it. It has that style of comedy. I think it works brilliantly. You can just put it on regardless of the things that surround it. There are a few things that tie it up, but basically it's a big, fun, silly romp. And there are others that I'm challenged to think of at the moment, but they are there.
The problem with that is, though, I can just see it coming now, because isn't he doing the next Thor film? And you kind of go, is this going to be one big ego fest? Like, is this going to be like... oh yeah, mate, I did the fucking last one and it was gangbusters. So this time Thor's got 5 cocks, and it's just like, or whatever,
possibly. It's possible.
More synthwave, more Goldblum, more. It's just like,
well, Mother's Bound from,
and I get why,
Devo,
because it's like
no,
but I get why, because they're under pressure to deliver again, and I do understand that. I guess the difficult second album thing, and
that was a real standout.
I understand that.
Oh
yeah, and I loved Ragnarok. Don't get me wrong. I thought Ragnarok that's probably my favourite Thor film. In fact, it is my favourite. I think
I was never a huge fan of the other two, so.
No, I wasn't either. So I definitely think that is the best one. So please don't get me wrong when I say that. And I think he introduced some really great. He basically put Thor into the Guardians of the Galaxy universe with that.
Yeah.
It was very much in that mold.
Yeah, it shook up the status quo a bit as well. I know that was all part of some. I'm sure that was an edict from the Marvel mothership, whatever needed to be, because they kind of destroyed Asgard, that place they live.
No, I loved that, and I thought that was great, and and including the Hulk, and that obviously they wanted to do Planet Hulk with it, but it was a sort of clever way of kind of doing that. No, I did. I'm more behind that. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to sort of shit on Taika Waititi, but it's just I think it's come close to unraveling, and I think perhaps COVID has been quite good in a way, because it's given us that break, because we were due to get hit with Black Widow and whatever the other one was last year.
Whatever. And we've had that would have been on top of the TV shows as well. The first episode of Loki was very fun. I've liked the TV stuff. Yeah, it's all timey-wimey and weird. It's all crazy. Like there's a kind of an omnipotent sort of time managing bureaucracy, and they live inside this kind of Escher kind of complex made out of the 1970s. Everything's kind of wood panel, and the art design's superb, beautiful, and it's just funny and fun, and they did silly things with it, and I enjoyed it. So
Oh, cool. Nice.
Wing Chun Exchange gave another £5. God bless. Another great stream, lads. Let me just say that Vanilla Pinhead is up there with Hannibal Cretin in terms of VVB creations. I must say, Vanilla Pinhead in his original form. Ivan and I were doing that the other night, watching Hellraiser 4, and we got bored. We were doing versions of Vanilla Pinhead, and we've just obviously fucking run with it a bit tonight. Which, like, so I need to give Ivan some. Let's give Ivan some credit there for Vanilla Pinhead.
Yeah, no, it's inject modernity into an extreme character and comedy.
Watch the anti-fun explode everywhere. Well, what are you thinking? A few more minutes and then wrap up.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll take it to 20 past. We'll take it to 22:20. Oh shit.
Yeah, come on, yeah.
So I need to text my mum.
Fair enough. Okay, please. I'm on your schedule. It's fine. Hellraiser. It was interesting. I mean, it's funny because it's been a thing that you weren't really. It's not like I'm into it. I don't want to say it like I'm sort of well into those films. They were just sort of films that I picked up years ago in my early 20s and kind of was like, oh yeah, and then just sort of watched them all and kind of went, oh wow, that's cool. And then kind of, I think it was when I was at university. I think I sort of watched them for the first time. Sorry. Yeah, and that's why I suppose I kind of had an understanding or knowledge of them, but that was it really. So it's kind of been interesting to that you've kind of got up to speed with them in such quick fashion.
Yeah, well they've been something that I've bounced around for years. They just I get, because the first one I may have watched a long time ago. It's been so polluted by the amount of times it's referenced and parodied that I just don't know. So watching it last week was like, well, yeah, I'm essentially watching this as new. Perhaps I haven't seen it before, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. Then we cracked on with the rest just out of interest, because Ivan was like, hey, let's get on with watch the rest. I was like, yeah, cool, fine. And yeah, it was a trip, and I did loads of reading about it, and kind of dug in. I know because Toby's a huge fan. Obviously, Gary and Chris and Adam and the guys are massive. They made the fucking documentary about it, and they wrote stuff, so they know all about it. So I've been hearing about Hellraiser for the longest fucking time, and it's like, you know what? I should probably fucking watch this, shouldn't I? Because it was on Channel 4 or something. That was it. It was recorded off TV. It was like, hey, let's watch this. That's all it was. It wasn't like this dedicated, like, let's go fucking Hellraiser crazy, whatever. Someone did make a joke earlier about expecting me to be in Pinhead cosplay, and that is something I would never shave my beard because I look like a cylinder of tofu at the best of times. But I could so easily do a Pinhead thing. It's, you know, bald guy stuff. It's one of these things. You get Professor X and Pinhead. Floyd says any shots of Sam Raimi watch party could do Evil Dead 1 and 2 and Drag Me to Hell. Have you seen Drag Me to Hell? Yeah. Fucking cool. Yeah, really cool. I would be well up for it. We'll talk, Floyd, because you could chuck a Spider-Man in there if you wanted. You could go all the way from mainstream to grotty horror and back with a Sam Raimi pole.
Yeah, I really like because Drag Me to Hell was his sort of first thing after Spider-Man 3, wasn't it? It was like his kind of return to that genre.
It was a weird, unexpected return because I think then after that he would have done the L. Frank Baum Oz thing, wouldn't he? I really liked Drag Me. I thought it was superb. It's the most Sam Raimi thing.
No, I loved it. I thought it was really good. 2009, I think that came out.
Did you watch any of the Ash vs Evil Dead series, the TV show?
No.
I'm looking for a place where that's because I watched the first season. It was fucking brilliant, and Raimi directed the pilot. And it was really good. It was really funny. It was everything you would have wanted from. I get sort of teenage me would never forgive adult me for having not watched all of the Evil Dead show because I was Evil Dead nuts when I was. Hold on, like this is reachable because I've moved all my DVDs upstairs.
Yeah. Just so you know, Omar sent us £2 and says Vanilla Pinhead blew me away. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, cheers, Om.
I've got this 10 Evil Dead 2 10. It was like numbered of 50,000. It's from Anchor Bay. I bought this. I had to buy this with like fucking postal orders. Oh, there goes the inlay. Because it was like eBay before you could. I think I only had like a solo. Great Graham Humphrey's artwork there. I couldn't use my solo card or my Switch card or whatever on. Right? Yeah, so I think I had to like go to the post office, buy postal orders, and then post them to someone in America so they could send me the Region 1 tin of Evil Dead 2. And then Army of Darkness was like impossible to get. I've got an Anchor Bay I imported. Those are like some of the first things I imported. I don't know how old I was. Christ, when did this even come out? I was a teenager. I'm pretty sure I was doing A-levels, so probably a bit older than 16. But yeah, it's really not worth a lot of money or anything. But it's a nice tin. So there you go. For fans of things in boxes. There you go. So yeah, I might dig out Doug Bradley's book, and have another look.
Yeah, you should do.
Yeah, I remember it being very, very like informative, interesting. I like quite a lot. I think it tied in as when I was on the second year of my degree, and we were doing classical Hollywood units and stuff, and it tied in really nicely to this because you cover classic horror we did in our course because it's just this hugely integral thing to the classic era. And as George Romero himself said, horror's the genre that never dies.
He's not wrong. Yeah. It's getting increasingly hard to.
He did. But the genre.
No, it's getting
too soon.
It's getting increasingly hard to make a mark on it, though. That's the only thing I'll say. It's very hard.
I think there've been some good stuff in the last few years. There's been a few standouts, but yeah, it feels like we've got lots of haunted doll movies or something at the moment.
Yeah,
that's all about.
Yeah, we went through that slew of Exorcist remakes, essentially, didn't we? Like The Exorcism of Jeffrey's Bum.
There was Jeffrey's Bum. There was that one of those movies. When you got to the end, it put a web address on the screen, and you were supposed to go home and look at the ending on the internet. Do you remember that? I can't remember what that was called. That fucked a load of people off because you've paid to go to the cinema. And then it gives you a fucking URL at the end and makes you go like, oh, you want the end? Go fucking get it. And it's like, hold on a minute. I just paid you £12 for that. What the fuck, mate?
That's fucked up. Yeah.
I can see it like, hey, look, Icarus, you flew too close to the sun. I get trying to be experimental, but
yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I mean, nowadays that's just viral marketing, isn't it? That's just like you'd be pissed off because it was like it's like being sent spam. Fucking.
Well, tickle your balls, suck your willy, isn't it?
Indeed. I'm looking forward to getting back to the cinema, though. I have to say, I'm sort of. I mean, that seems to be. I mean, obviously they've fucking postponed Freedom Day or whatever now, but it is kind of like I am I can't wait to kind of get back in and see something eventful.
I know what you mean.
You know,
do you know what, man? I saw because View are quite good at kind of revivals. I think they were putting on like Total Recall, and I was a bit like, I'd even go see something not new and eventful. I just quite like, see something classic.
Yeah.
Just go and watch a reel of adverts. just want to get out of the house. I don't even mind.
No, I would though. I mean, I'd be up for that. Even if they put on old movies or something, it'd be good to go. But it's kind of, I'm hoping that all gets back up on its feet. But who knows? Who knows how cinema's going to emerge from all this? It's the jury's still out. So.
Yeah, Fast and Furious 9, my friends.
That's around the corner, apparently. Vin Diesel keeps telling me in my Instagram feed.
Space.
Okay. Let's go to the movies so I can afford another facelift.
People in glass houses and everything, but he does look like a scrotum, a big roided up scrotum. But which I hope I can one day.
Yeah, it's
aspirational. Right, well, do you know what? This is the time to end because the concurrent viewers is on 69 on my screen. It's 63 live, but on my 69, the sexiest number of all, which Pinhead would like. So we're going to go. We're going to cut the credits. The credits are in dire need of an update, and I promise I'll update the credits for next week. I've been very, very busy. I'll update the credits for the next stream. I promise. Watch out on Patreon. More content coming your way. We love you very much. Anything you need, just send us a message. We love you. Leave a comment. We love you. And we'll see you next week. What say you?
Tatty bye.
Bye bye.
I say tatty bye.
I too say tatty bye. Bye tatty bye.